It's portfolio review day. Hello everyone and welcome to today's stream. I'm very happy to be here as every single Friday in this live stream with you guys. Hello everyone. And today we are going to be going over all of the portfolio reviews that were submitted during the past couple of weeks. Now, there were a couple of changes, so before we go into the portfolio reviews, I just want to go over the changes. We did announce these changes on the Discord channel, so first things first. If you want to know when the portfolio review opens, you need to join the Discord channel. If you don't, it's going to be very difficult for you to realize when it's already open. And we have two new sort of like rules for the portfolio review. The first rule is that you should, of course, include a message about what you want me to help you with, right? Like, what's your goal? What are you looking for? So that I know how to sort of like tailor the review for what you specifically are looking for. And the second one that we implemented this time around is that I'm only accepting portfolios from people who have been doing 3D for at least a year, okay? Because in the past couple of months, we've been getting a couple of portfolios here and there of students who just started their 3D journey. And I know you guys are very eager to show your progress and show your models. But portfolios are usually reserved to people who already have the experience and are at that sort of like place before going and looking for a job, right? Or offering their services as professional 3D artists. So if you're not there yet, then the things that I'm gonna say about your portfolio are probably gonna be the same. Check your topology, check your forms, work on your anatomy, check your textures, your UVs, and all of those things we cover extensively on the YouTube channel. So if you see that there's a couple things that you're struggling with, just look for some videos there on the YouTube channel, some of the live streams even, or of course the premium courses. And again, once a year has passed and you've been doing this for a while, that I would say it's a good point to start looking for that kind of feedback, because otherwise it becomes, again, like certain feedbacks that are just like very obvious things that need to be said. Okay, now there's going to be a new rule that we're going to implement next month. I didn't implement it this month, but there's going to be a new one that we're going to implement the next month, which is going to be, let's go here to the tablet. It's going to be that you cannot submit your portfolio like in a row, right? Like if you submit it today for September, let other people submit for October and for November. So there should be at least 2 months before you submit again. Okay, so for instance here, our good friend Sanj, he submitted, he's the first submitter for September's portfolio review. Sanj, I will be giving you some feedback and I want you to work on that feedback. And if you want to show me the progress or the improvements on your portfolio, you're gonna have to wait until December, okay, to submit. Because otherwise, I've seen a couple of portfolios a couple of times throughout this year, and it's fine. I'm happy to help everyone. But since we're going to be reducing the amount of portfolios that we're going to be accepting to be able to give quality feedback to everyone, I just want to make sure that you guys are empathetic towards others who have not had the chance to submit. Hope that's clear, okay? So with that said, let's jump into the dynamic. Well, one final announcement. That's another final announcement that we're going to say. Portfolio review is closed. So if you're just joining and you're like, hey, can you review my portfolio? I'm sorry, my friend. I'm not going to be able to do it out of respect of all of the 38 portfolios that we have today. I'm going to be focusing the time of today's stream to them. If you want to submit, just be very like attentive to the announcement on the Discord channel, because we open the submissions and we're going to be closing them roughly at 35-38 submissions every month, which allows me to do 5 minutes, 6 minutes per person. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's see. Yeah, exactly, Hudson. That's only if there's a lot of submissions. As long as there are like submissions are like trickling slowly, then it's fine. We'll keep them open. But we've had a lot of submissions this past couple of months, so that's why we're implementing some of this right here. Yeah, Claudio, we did change the day. Because we already had some stuff right here. So let's go. Let's start with Sanj right here. Sanj, I'm gonna move this to the other side. There we go. Actually, let me close this and let me open the other account. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so Sanj says, hey Abe, as an artist, I'd like to focus on being a character artist using the game art pipeline, but I'm also doing props. I'm currently doing into Marvel's designer course. I also want to start applying for jobs to become a game artist. Wonder if you could provide feedback and some tips. Okay, so if you want to be a character artist, we need to see more characters. That's the first thing that I will tell you, my friend, because right now we're not seeing anything, right? Like there's just this fantasy warrior right here, and even this one, there's a couple of things that I don't particularly like. See, gold is a tricky thing. When you take a look at gold armor, for instance, we are very sort of like indoctrinated to see gold armor kind of like in games and stuff, but real gold armor, as you can see, actually has a very sort of like dull glow to it. It's not yellow, it's this sort of like dark brownish color, okay? So be very careful when doing gold on your characters, because if you go too saturated like what you're doing right here, it can definitely backfire a little bit. And it's one of those things that's relatively easy to fix. It's just about the saturation on whatever software you're using. So let's use this one, for instance, right there. Control U, and if we bring the saturation down, right, and a little bit of the lightness up, that already starts looking a little bit more like gold. I'm actually gonna push the hue a little bit down. See that difference? So that right there looks a little bit more like how gold would react in the real world compared to what we're seeing right here that's like hyper saturated. This is not how you would normally find metals on your characters, which I know you actually do. Yeah, we got some like epic music. Is it too much? Should we change it to like the more basic stuff? No, there is some epic music. Let's go a little bit lighter. I'm using the League of Legends like creators playlist. Where is it? Yeah, it might be a little bit too much. Give me 1 second. Diana sessions. That should be better. A little bit chiller. There we go. No, that's fine. It was also sort of like hyping me up a little bit too much, so. There we go. Okay, so this one looks a lot closer to what I would expect a realistic element to look like. I'm a little bit concerned about this one, my friend, because there are certain shading issues. So for instance here, the normal map kind of looks inverted. So I'm not sure if you forgot to invert the normal map on your original mesh, but you might want to like take a look at that, because it does look like some of the normal maps are not like working perfectly fine. It's not a bad asset. I like this one as a prop for games. I think this one is fine. UVs are not great though, and I'm gonna tell you why UVs are not great. You added way too many cuts, I think. Way too many cuts, and some of these materials are very low quality as well, my friend. So let's take a look here. So you can see how, for instance, this piece right here has quite a bit of detail, and then the pieces by the side are very low res. That tells me that something is happening on your UVs that are not allowing you to bake all of the information down. And look at this normal map. This is why marmoset viewers are so good for us as art directors or recruiters, because we can immediately tell how you're like handling all of this stuff. So it's very important that you make sure that we don't have these extreme elements. See this extreme shading that we have right here? It should not look like that. It should look like all of these parts right here, very smooth, very soft. When you have this, those are errors. So something is happening on your mesh or on your bakes that you need to check, okay? So again, not a bad asset. This one I really like. It's a good asset. There's a couple of things that I would change. Okay. Yeah, mainly the silhouette. The silhouette is very simple. You can see it here on the outside of the house. It's just a plane with a map texture. This is what they used to do back in the day in like PlayStation 2 and things like that. Nowadays, you can really play a little bit more with the silhouette, like this one right here. So I'm not sure why we're adding this shots when we have this one right here. I would rather see more shots about your topology and things like that. Now this one right here, again, a good prop. I like it. It's not bad, but it's so simple. Like, it's such a simple prop that I don't think it fits here in your portfolio. Remember guys, that if you have a prop that can be done in like a couple of hours, it usually makes no sense to have it on your portfolio. It's better to just include it with the house and do breakdowns within this pose than to just have like a simple window. Let's go with this one finally. Okay, lockout. Low poly, high poly. This is not a low poly, man. This is not low poly. I'm sorry, and I'm sorry if I'm being a little bit mean right now, but this right here, this Siri mesh stuff, that's not gonna work. I mean, nowadays with nanite and other things, it can work, but what I mean, this is not optimized. This was way more optimized than what you had right here. So the texturing and the sculpture or the sculpting it's not bad. I would like to see a little bit more, again, breaks on the silhouette. But other than that, it does look good. It's just that the low poly is not efficient at all. Okay, like this asset should easily be below 10k triangles. Like, can you see the density right there on that skirt and on that base right there and on each of these cylinders? Like, it's just topology that's not doing anything. And I know I just made a short a couple of days ago about like Wukong having millions of polygons on screen, but it's important that you guys understand that just because you can have millions of polygons on screen doesn't mean that you should have millions of polygons on screen. So you still need to what's the word? You still need to optimize things. You still need to work on that. Now, the same advice that I give frequently, my friend, try to work on more ambitious projects, okay? Because even though some of them are quite good, again, like the broken glass window, it's not gonna be the best one. And if you want to do character, we need to see characters. We need to see anatomy. You can check the Duncan course for anatomy for artists. So yeah, that's good. Good start here with our first element. I'm gonna do something a little bit weird this time around, guys. I'm gonna be telling David to notate a couple of important bits of information that I think could be good shorts for later. So David, could you just like write down the gold information, because I think that's a good tip about texturing. The blockout should be, yeah, the blockout can definitely be more low poly. The blockout, since it's gonna be replaced by the high poly anyway, it doesn't really matter that much. So this one is by Lorenzo Rodriguez. He says, from Sao Paulo, Brazil. Hey, Abe, how are you doing? I'm Lorenzo and I'm a 3D character artist from Brazil, focusing on games and on more realistic style. Getting into the industry is my main goal right now, and everyone would do, and then work my way to my main focus. What tips can you give regarding making new characters for games for portfolio? Because they usually take a lot of time, and right now, ideally, my portfolio needs more models. I was planning on making stylized characters for games as well, because they're quicker to make, to build volume and give a shot in a different market, since realistic seems to be harder for new artists. It's not that it's harder, it's that it's, as you say, more time consuming sometimes. So let's take a look. Okay, so this is an ice nomad. Okay. Interesting. So the one thing that I noticed immediately with this character, my friend, is that it's a little bit dense on geometry. Yeah, so we're using a lot of geometry for this character, Lorenzo, and we're not really utilizing that geometry. What do I mean by that? If we take a look, for instance, here in the boots, right? Let's go to Photoshop real quick. So if we take a look here at the boots, one thing that I noticed is that you did the retopology of the boots as a single mesh. There we go. There we go. Perfect. So all of this is a single mesh, right? And the problem is that you are going really heavy on the topology of the boots. I can see that it's really, really dense, right? But it's so flat, so flat. Like all of the silhouette is pretty much like, you can simplify those with just like 4 polygons and that's it. You don't need as much as you have right there. So if you're gonna be doing this, what you want to do is you want to exaggerate the silhouette a little bit more. So for instance, this pants, let's push it out a little bit more. Same over here. Right, same over here, so that it really seems like the bandages are pushing out. Let's keep one bandage on top of the other, you know. It's like, so really use the new polygons or the polygons that you're adding on your wireframe to push the silhouette of the character a little bit more. That's gonna make it look way more interesting. And you can see this in like games like God of War, right? Like Kratos has a lot of bandages around the body, and they really pop out and generate a lot of silhouette that makes it look more interesting. So that kind of stuff can really add and make your elements way more complex, and it's a really good way to, what's the word? It's a really good way to generate that sort of like effect. And the same thing can be said about the cloth itself. So for instance, the pants, right now, this pants right here, they look very flat, right? Like they look like they're made out of like a very heavy sort of like wool or like leather or something. And what I would expect to see right here, I'm not really good at painting, so you guys are gonna have to forgive me, but I would expect to see a little bit more depth right? So more wrinkles. So really push the silhouette of the elements a little bit more, and really see how they're actually, again, generating that change. Because right now they look very flat. And if we add or exaggerate those folds a little bit more with geometry, with actual geometry, it's going to look more interesting. This is something that you see very again frequently with cloth, and we talk about this on the Marvelous Designer course. So if you have not taken Marvelous Designer, that might be a good option. Again, same for the boots. Like, we're missing more detail here on the little boots. So I know you know the techniques, my friend. I know you know the pipeline because you have like UVs and everything. We need to work a little bit more on the polishing of the elements, okay? And we need more full characters. This hair right here looks very nice. It does look a little bit plasticky. Hair is tricky. The character, by the way, is very cool. I like this sort of like Western characters. But something that happens with hair very frequently is that you are going to have a little bit of what we call breakaways or transition hairs. And they're going to be like small little hairs that you're going to have here on the border of the hairline. And they're going to help you break out this like sort of like elements. You're also going to have like, not everything's going to be perfectly fine. So you will have a couple of hairs, you know, like moving or not following in the exact same direction of the rest of your character. And that can really help you blend all of this stuff, because right now it looks a little bit too uniform, I would say. So it's very important that we incorporate a little bit of this breakaway and this sort of like again, transition hairs, so that when you see it from afar, it looks a little bit more blended in. Okay, yeah, like rebel hair, like all of that sort of stuff. As a recruiter, how many? I've mentioned this before, Solam. I would expect to see at least 5 really good pieces. So 5 really good pieces in your portfolio is a good way to start. Lorenzo, my advice would be to do another character, because as you mentioned, you need more. I know this takes time. Like, I know doing a full character like this one is at least like a month of work. But, I mean, what can I say? Like, you gotta go through it. One thing I can tell you is, if you're feeling like you're spending too much time, for instance, on the base mesh or on the anatomy, just grab a base mesh. Just grab the anatomy and focus on the props, focus on the details, focus on the wrinkles and all that sort of stuff. You don't need to do everything from scratch. Like, try to tackle this as if you were already in production, and give yourself a sort of a goal. Like, hey, I need to do one character. I have 4 weeks. I'm gonna use as many shortcuts and as many things as I can, and I'm gonna deliver the final result. Okay? It's not cheating, and we talked about this in post-production, in the post-production video this week. If you're working on the if you're working on any project for a studio, time and money are resources that are limited. So you will have to take, again, shortcuts. Sometimes you will be like, hey, I cannot model one of these little bottles, and you found the model online. Just download it. Just make sure that you include it here. Of course, download it legally, and make sure you include in the description, I didn't do the bottles. The bottles were done or were provided by this thing right here. But even things like this, right? Like, I've recommended Jonas Renegade. Like, I know if I was doing like a Japanese like thing, I could sculpt all of these ornaments for my character. Like, I know the techniques to do this, and most of you guys who use ZBrush also know how to do them. But if I need to do all of this, it's gonna take me like 2 or 3 days to generate them. It's not wrong to just pay $6 here to good old Jonas, which, by the way, this is not a sponsor or anything, but he is an amazing artist. He has a lot of like really cool stuff. It's not wrong to pay $6 and have this thing right here, okay? Use them for your projects. It's fine, okay? You guys need to understand that production and sort of like your proficiency as an artist are important, but there's times where you need to optimize. The base mesh police is just knocking right here. It's like, oh no, I was joking, I'll do everything. Let's see. So yeah, that would be my advice for you, Lorenzo. Lorenzo, this is my advice for you. Do one more character. I would recommend doing a female character as well, because you have 2 male characters pretty much. So one female character is also a good way to show your skills. Alan, what's up, man? Welcome to the stream. Let's now go with Milkmaster. Milkmaster, you're there. Says, hi Eve, I'm Alan. I just hit 4 years of experience doing 3D. Unfortunately, I only have 2 pieces due to life and school, but my ultimate goal is to eventually land an internship as an environment prop artist. I recently had a meeting with another industry professional, and he said my next piece or 2 should focus on environmental props before starting on an actual modular environment. Let me know what you think. Okay, let's take a look. Alan. Okay, this is not bad. I like it. very sort of like 50s, 60s sci-fi stuff. What's the name of this famous author? Ray Bradbury, right? If you guys have not read Ray Bradbury, like, I'm not a huge fan of sci-fi, to be honest, but Ray Bradbury like writes some really cool things that I think are very approachable, especially if you're not into like super heavy sci-fi. His stuff is really cool. I read this one right here when I was in school. It's called Crónicas Marcianas in Spanish. I don't know, Martian Chronicles or something like that in English. It's like short little stories, and it's really nice. I strongly recommend that one. We got Zach Axon. What's up, man? Welcome. So this is good, Alan, but we're missing one of the fundamental things about the presentation, which is the wireframe. We're not seeing the wireframe. If you want to do games, we need to see the wireframe. Now, here's another advice, and I've talked about this before. If you're presenting anything in your, in your portfolio, you need to be very mindful of how the background works with your portfolio. If you have a dark object, you need to go for a light background, okay? Something like this, probably a little bit darker, probably like that. There we go. Because otherwise we're not going to be able to tell the difference. This is what you have on your portfolio. It looks very dark, right? And this is what you can do with a lighter background. I always recommend to have a lighter background if your character, prop, or whatever this is dark. That's another tip, by the way, David. Let's write that down. So if you have a light prop, you want to have a dark background so that it pops out more. If you have a dark prop, you want to have a light background so that, again, it pops out more. So yeah, but this is a good one, man. As long as it's optimized, this could potentially be in the game. So this one's a really good piece. I would definitely keep it. See, you did a better job on this one. The background now is darker and the motorcycle is lighter, so it really pops. Like, we can really appreciate all of the forms and contours. Really cool. Again, I'm not a huge sci-fi guy, to be honest, but this one looks very nice. Very nicely optimized. 41,000 triangles for a vehicle like this. Very nicely optimized. It could potentially be optimized a little bit more, but to be honest, not really bad. Oh, that's a nice improvement. So this was your old like version and then a new version. See, the only thing I would like to see on this one is just a little bit of texture work. I'm not sure if it's ready for, like, I'm guessing it's ready because you have some normal maps right here, but just like the bare minimum metal edge wear, the bare minimum like a little rust or dirt on the bottom parts of the bike, like just super simple, super clean, like a clean dirtiness, right? I know it sounds a little bit weird, Alan, but like a clean dirtiness would be very cool. Now, yeah, exactly, just a little bit of grunge, as Alan is saying right there, another Alan, to break up the little bit of information right there. Now, the advice that you were given by your other friend is really good. I would definitely go and do some like props, but try to go for props that could potentially work as part of a bigger scene. So for instance, this thing right here, right? So if you did this like I don't know, med station or like art station or whatever, you could later on do the floor and then the walls and then a couple of pillars and things like that. And at the end, even though you started with one single element right here, you can go with more. And this is one of the best advices I can give you guys. If you find something that you like this one from Damian Bunsik, pretty sure it's pronounced like that. Yeah, look at this. This is awesome because he has this piece right here. He has this piece right here. This piece right here. So there you go. Like, this is for you, man. Just look this name, Damian Bunsik, I think, concept artist at Ubisoft Mainz, and start doing all of these props. And eventually, if you have all of the props ready, you can just bring them into a single piece or into a single scene, and you should have something that looks close to this right here. So whenever you find a piece of art, guys, a reference, always look or try to find who the character or the artist was, because you can find more stuff that's really good. This fan right here, excellent exercise to learn about hard surface modeling, normal map baking, texturing. Like, all of this, guys, are really like cool exercises. We might do we might do one later on. I'm gonna save this name as well. I'm gonna type it to you, David, just so that we don't forget. There we go. Because that's a really like, all of these pieces are excellent pieces to learn the pipelines with. Let's see. Aritz, saludos desde España. Saludos, mi estimado. Flip only one of my pieces. Yeah, you probably want most of your pieces to have the wireframe displayed if possible. That really helps. But yeah, that's it, Millmaster. I'm not sure if you have any more questions. If you do, please let me know, since you're already here on the stream. If not, we're gonna move to the next one. Okay, we're gonna move now to Forg. It says, hey Eve, I'm Noah, starting my 3rd year in 2 weeks. In my current school for this year, we will not 3D model a character, so I'm following a course to improve my level and the workflow. I would like to work for Hideo Kojima in the future as a character artist or 3D character concept artist. Next year, I would like to go to New 3D Edge in Paris, since it has a good level. And, okay, let's take a look. So, first thing that I noticed on your portfolio, my friend, is that it's a little bit too dark in light. Like, there's a couple of things that are difficult to see. For instance, this one right here. It's not a bad sculpt, and I really like the textures, but it's way too dark, man. way too dark. Like, I can't see anything. This is better. That's definitely better. And this is a little bit concerning because you're showing me a wireframe right here that's very dense. So I'm not sure if you're using displacement of subdivision workflow. This is not something that I would do, or if this is just series measure. So this is one of those times where I would be like, hey, if you're not gonna be doing this for games, you don't even need to short the wireframe, because I know you're not doing displacement either. So, or it doesn't look like you're doing displacement either. So it's not really helping you to have that. And again, careful with the lights, guys. Like this shot right here, it does nothing, right? It's very difficult to see Noah. Very difficult. It's a cool work, but that one's not really showing it the way it should. I'm against showing whips, and I'm against showing just like practices in your portfolio. This kind of stuff that you have right here is really good for your socials. So your Instagram, your Facebook, I don't know, Threads or X or whatever. Like, this is good to show your skill, and someone might see stuff and what's the word, and just go from there. But for a study, I don't like having studies on my portfolio. Okay, this is good. Yeah, not bad. Good composition. Okay. I was gonna say what's going on here, but you're mentioning that this is a light reference, and this is interesting. But this is why I can hopefully help you. So this Moana scene is your reference, and you pretty much just like remove Moana, probably with Photoshop or something, and got your character in here. What can we see in Moana? This is a question for you guys in chat. What can we see in Moana that we're not seeing in this character right here? It's a very simple thing. Very simple thing. What do you guys see that we're not seeing here? Because I like the fact that you're trying to incorporate this into the scene. Exactly, that's right, the rim light. So if you take a look at Moana, and we take a look at the rim light right here, you're gonna see that the value is pretty much all the way to the top. It's like the highest value you can get on the hair of the character. And if we take a look at this character right here, this value right here is not there yet. Can it get there? Definitely. Let me see if I can do a quick, like, paint over. Photoshop helps me here. Yes, nice. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab a soft round brush. I'm gonna grab sort of like the warmish point right there. Like that, and then we're gonna set this to probably linear dodge. Overlay is working a little bit better. There we go. So see the difference? This is without the rim light, this is with the rim light, and it gets closer to what we have here with Moana. So that stuff, again, as someone was mentioning right here, is doing it with the lights. Don't be afraid to use more lights. Sometimes we think that we only need to use one light or two lights. Go with as many lights as you need. If you need, like, literally, if you need to have, let's say, one light right here, one light right here, one light right here, and one light right here, all of them like highlights to get this rim light on the character, go for it. Like, no, there's not gonna be a light police going into your computer and be like, hey, you're using too many lights, especially for a render shot like this. Okay, so good exercise on doing this like a composition. I really like it, but go a little bit higher with the lights. I think you nailed it a little bit closer on this one right here, so that's nice. Topology wise, looks good. Yeah. So, and the next thing that I would do with this character, man, is work a little bit more on the materials, because I do feel like you're not using subsurface scattering. And that's another thing that we can see here with the character and with Moana as well. You need to use a little bit of subsurface scattering for your character to really get that sort of like grunge effect. And that's the interesting thing. I know you know how to use subsurface scattering, because for instance, this like a fan art right here has a subsurface scattering. So always use all of the skills that you have to your disposal. Yeah, my advice, my friend, is stop doing too many like these things. Try to do a little bit less of this sort of like studies and sculpts and do more full characters. Okay, that's gonna be very, very important. Do more full characters. This once again fun, but we're not seeing a full character. I would like to see you do this sort of stuff that you did here with the waxer, but do it with the full production pipeline with the body as well, because I think the body is just like a general subsurface scatter, like it's not retopoed or because I don't see all the wireframes and stuff like that. So especially if you want to, like, your goal is to go and work with Hideo Kojima, so you definitely want to show that you know the full process of the project. Okay, there we go. Yeah, exactly, subsurface. What do you think about whips? I don't... on the block section. Yeah, on the block section, maybe. I don't use the block section, to be honest, on ArtStation. I don't even go and check the block sections of anyone in ArtStation. Like, to me, ArtStation is like it's like your curriculum, so you just go and see the good stuff. And once you finish something, well, the good stuff should be there, right? There we go. We are now going with Rony Lopez. Says, hi, Eevee. Just wanted to say thank you. Learned a lot from you despite practicing 3D many years before I discovered you. I submitted my portfolio a while back and took your recommendations regarding organic hard surface models. I'm now just trying to diversify my portfolio since I do more than just hard surface. Right now, I'm looking for work as a 3D artist, looking for any position really, but I only find senior positions. Okay, here's the interesting thing about junior and senior positions, my friend. There's again no police that's gonna tell you, hey, you cannot apply to a senior position. Sometimes how to say this, a senior position has to do more with the fact that you're not gonna be causing as many problems to the production as you would do as a junior. So a junior might be asking too many questions, might need a lot of feedback, might need a lot of like sort of like a guidance through the process. A senior is just gonna get things done. So if you can prove that you can do the job, just apply to it, man. Like, don't be afraid. Like, worst that can happen is they're gonna tell you no, right? But there's absolutely nothing wrong with applying to a senior position if you have the skills to prove that you can fulfill that role. Why do you recommend to do full characters and no little projects like a head? Because everyone can do little projects like a head, Snoth. Everyone. Like, you can start doing one today, work for 3 or 4 hours and upload it to your portfolio. Not everyone has the discipline and the commitment to do a full character that's going to take them 2 or 3 or 4 weeks. And that really shows the difference between the, again, like attitude and personality of the person, right? So practices are great to practice. They're great to show on your socials. They're great to, again, to, I don't know, like learn a new skill or whatever. But it is very, very important that you do full, complete characters. Yeah, or 3 or 4 months, right? You do full, complete characters to really showcase your skill. And you can see that with my stuff. Like, if you go to YouTube and you go through all of the thumbnails, I've done, I don't know how many exercises in the past months. None of those exercises are in my portfolio because those exercises, those practices, those demo pieces, they're not portfolio worthy to me. They might be good, they might have a good result, or they might look nice, but they're not portfolio worthy. Okay, so your portfolio should really be your best work, not your practice work. Can you become an environment artist without modeling? Cabin balance? No, my friend. That would be very, very, very complicated. So yeah, I remember some of them. I think I remember this one. I'm not sure. This looks good. It's definitely looking a little bit more organic, as I mentioned, or as I recommended, Rony. I don't remember what was the last one that I saw, but I do remember this one right here, which was a good result. Again, a little bit of surface right there could help. I really remember this one. yeah, like the Halo character. Yeah, this one was good. Yeah, good topology and everything. Yeah, this is good, man. It's definitely getting there. Your anatomy is it's not too far off. There's a couple of things that would change, like the ear looks very small compared to the rest of the faces. His ear looks very nice. I like the hands and the general proportion. The one thing that I would recommend in this one, my friend, and not only this one. Okay, there you go. Yeah, I know you're going for a lot of Halo stuff. However, we gotta be careful on where or how we pick certain concepts, because they can be a little bit generic, and I feel like this one falls a little bit into that. Like, I don't see anything like super interesting about it. This one's cool. It's like a big ship, right? Yeah, this one's cool. You might want to try and present some of this with some more clean renders. Like this one's right here. I feel like there's something scale-wise that I'm missing on this one in particular, because it doesn't feel as massive as this one right here. And I'm not exactly sure what it might be. I think it's the scratches that you added. Like, they're very big, and that makes it seem like a very small thing. So you might want to check again a little bit on that tiling. Yeah, that could also work. A little bit more scale references. Because at first on the thumbnail, I thought this was a like a weapon, like an axe head or something. But now that I see it's a ship, it's missing a little bit of a scale thing. Let's see. Let's try doing something here real quick. So for instance, let's bring in like a space. Trying to find some with a good proportion, like yeah, this one maybe. Something like this. Oh my god, I hate when Photoshop does that. Yeah, Photoshop just like completely died. There we go. So just getting an idea of the general again effect might be a way to bring a little bit more of a scale to the whole thing, especially if you have like a couple of these guys again, so like going towards it. It makes us understand that the scale is really big. I know we have the planet down there, but yeah, it can be tricky. This is getting better, man. I think well, it's not that it's getting better. Like, your portfolio is definitely feeling more complete. I'm not exactly sure what to tell you. I do feel like a lot of your stuff, it's a little bit too overdone in post-production, and we talked about this on the past video. And the thing is, it's not bad because you get some really kick-ass again, like scenes like this one right here. But it's also important to have clean renders as well to see the technical stuff. So for instance, on this one, yes, we're seeing the wireframe, but I would like to maybe see the maps, the baked maps. That could also really help. And yeah, I think that would be my advice for you, man. Start applying to different studios. Again, I know that you mentioned that there's not a lot of senior positions. Start applying to studios that have any open position. And even if you're going to be doing a little bit of environments or assets first, and then you keep moving towards character. How much time does it take to make a full character? It really depends, but I would say like at least 80 hours for a good like character. But I've seen characters that take up to 200 hours, 300 hours, so it really depends. But 80 hours is, I would say, a good amount. Not every time are gonna have that option. Sometimes the production will require you to be a lot faster in the creation of assets. And again, not every single character. Like for instance, if you tell me, hey, how long does it take to make Kirby, right? Like, you probably can do Kirby in a day. It's not a complicated character, or even Mario. Like, if you need to model a Mario character, it's not something that's gonna take you forever, because the character, of course, is not as complicated. But if you tell me, hey, let's do like Legolas, right, for a new like Lord of the Ring games, just due to the fact just due to the fact of how many things he has, right? Like props, cloth, armor, and all that stuff. It's gonna definitely take you a couple more days. It's not gonna be as fast. So it really depends. We now go with Aritz Sorzano. It says, my name is Aritz and I'm a 3D student who wants to become a 3D character artist in the video game industry. Thank you for your time and I look forward to your review. Let's take a look. Okay, first thing that I say right here, Aritz, and it's immediately jumping, is the fact that you are only doing fan art. And fan art is really good. We've talked about this. Fan art is nice. It really helps. But the problem with fan art is that unless you can beat or match the skill of what has been done professionally for the productions that they've been used, it's just gonna be working against you. So first advice, before I even take a look at your stuff, for your next project, try to pick a concept that has not been done before. Very important, okay? Try to do that. Let's take a look now at the technical stuff. So you're a little bit too dense there on the eye, man. Remember that when we're talking about topology, there's always a balance between the loops and stuff like that. I'm not sure, is this manually retopo or did you use Siri Mesher? Because it does seem to have some like manual retopology, but I do feel like it's a little bit too dense here on the underside of the eye. I understand why you did it, because maybe when you close the eye you're gonna have more space, but it's a little bit too much. And again, this is not something that I love, to be honest. You only did the head. It's gonna be complicated, and again, I'm sorry that I'm picking on you specifically, Aritz, but this is something that I see very commonly in portfolios. Floating heads, like you're not gonna find a position in a studio that says we're hiring someone to do floating heads for us. It's very like complicated. There might be a couple of projects, for instance, like FIFA and Maiden and all that stuff. They do a lot of like portrait and head work because they just switch the uniforms around. But for most of the things, you do need to show that you know how to do the full character. Okay, your anatomy is not bad. It's definitely a little bit stylized, right? A little bit cartoony, but the anatomy is good. It's looking good. So I'm gonna get a little bit. Okay, cool. We have a full character here, so that gives me a little bit more hope. But let's see. Not bad. Again, let's tone down the effects on this one so that we can really appreciate the character. That one's important. Gracedi gives that example. What example? To just do the heads of the characters, or do fan arts? Okay, topology is fine. Get a little bit dark on the renders. It's difficult to appreciate. I feel like the suit is a little bit shiny, but that might be a personal preference of mine. I like a flatter looking elements. It looks a little bit old. Like the wrinkles here might be a little bit too intense. Yeah, but it's Gracedi, right? Like he has done full characters, a lot of full characters for a long time. So he has earned that sort of like we can say that he has earned that a specific situation, because no one's gonna question whether or not he can do a full character. The problem that I see in a lot of portfolios is that they only do heads and floating heads and fan arts, so that's why it becomes a little bit tricky. This is a good project, man. I like this one, and the fact that you were able to pose it, that's great. A character artist design Baba is someone who does the full character. You need to know sculpting, you need to know retopo, you need to know textures, you need to know a little bit of shading, stuff like that. Yeah, exactly. A lot of people want to skip that part. So my advice on this one is maybe just touch up on the textures a little bit, because a lot of the areas for the suit look very uniform, and it's again a little bit difficult to appreciate the work you did with textures in this sort of like very foggy scene. So doing a cleaner render, Aritz, and you might want to check this one right here. This one's free. It's the portfolio presentation workshop. So if you were to present the Batman on a very clean like setup, like the ones that we have with this Canon, I think it would look very nice, and it will be a stronger piece. And now let's take a look at Kratos. Nice, another full character. Again, another fan art. And the problem with the fan art is that people are gonna look at your Kratos and they're gonna be like, oh, it's not as good as Gracedi's, right? And that's one of the worst things that you can have, like be compared to someone that's really good, because of course they're gonna prefer the one that did the better job. But this is not bad, actually. Like this is really good. Like I think you did a great job on this one. It's a great result. Good topology, good deformation, good anatomy. Even the hair cards look quite nice. I'm gonna give you the best, or one of the best advices that I can give you, my friend. Use the techniques that you did right here, but do another one. So instead of picking Kratos, I know you picked Kratos because you thought Kratos is very cool, and I agree. I also think Kratos is really, really cool. But your portfolio would have been stronger, like all of the time that you spent on that Kratos would have been stronger if you had picked something like this character right here. Because no one has done this one, probably, right? Or if you picked, I don't know, like this one right here. That kind of looks like 3D though, so maybe it's something. Usually I prefer to pick things that are not or have not been done in 3D, and I know you could have pulled it off. I know that you missed that sort of like, oh, but it's not Kratos, right? Like, I really want to do Kratos. But those are kind of like the decisions that you need to make as an artist and be like, okay, I know I'm not doing my favorite character, but I know that this is going to be more impactful for my portfolio. It's kind of like people who are, I don't know, learning any skill, right? Like, you might not like specific parts of the skill, but it's part of the process. No, Nishank, you do want that. You want your subsurface map to be black and white. It's a mask that controls well this stuff is working. Martin David, what's up, man? All good, my friend, all good. Let's see. What if I have one really, really good character with perfect topology, UVs, and texture? Is it worth it? Yes, Aaron. If you have like a perfect character, and we had that a couple of like months ago. I don't have the specific artist, but I think it was on July's portfolio review because it's this one right here, and this guy, Tuan An Ro. Let's show it. Tuan An Ro. There we go, Robert. So Robert had this one right here. Like, if you can do this level of detail and level of expertise, look at the anatomy, look at the materials, look at the hair, the armor. Like, this is top-notch stuff. Like, this is senior level stuff. Like, not everyone can get to this position like quickly. Like, if this is your only character and you show me this and you show me all of this, your hair cards, your like perfect wireframes, perfect UV sets. Like, I personally, if I only see this and you're like, and I'm hiring for character artists and I see you can do this, to me, you're hired. Like, this is what I need. This is what I want a character artist to be able to do. So, can you do that? Like, is your character at this level? Because if it is, then yeah, sure, one piece might be more than enough. But if it's not, that's where more pieces can be like, okay, maybe he missed a couple of things in anatomy here, but he made up with like cloth stuff in this other piece. So, yeah. It's again, as with everything, it's a balancing stuff. Yeah, exactly. Doing new things, as Jason Player says right there. How would you work around transmission in real time, like Jello or Glass? Shaders in games, you need to do the shader in game. So in Unreal or in Marmoset, there are ways to tweak things so that they look like Glass. Yeah, that one from our good friend here. From Tuan An, really kick-ass stuff. Okay, and let's take a look very... Oh, no, that's it, right? So, yeah, Aritz, you have the skills. You have the technical knowledge. My best advice, pick a concept that has not been done before, that challenges you, of course, and do that. And another little advice that I can give you, especially if you want to be a character artist, do a female character. Females are also a good way to showcase that you have that sort of like a range. Post-production, Gotham, you do dust in post-production. You don't do them in the, not all the times do you do it in the main textures. Rory says, hi Eve, I've enjoyed watching your reviews each month and have learned a lot already from doing so. I'm always looking to improve and want to know which pieces need more work and which ones should I remove, and what I need to add to be considered for character artist positions. I'm currently trying to improve some of my older work, but I'm having trouble sticking to one of them. Let's take a look. Okay, we definitely need to work a little bit on the thumbnails, my friend. For instance, this one right here immediately like calls to me because I think it's a very unique character. But the thumbnail was a little bit weird. And now that I see it, I'm not particularly fond of how you approach the scars. I would have sculpted the scars in. I understand that we're going for this sort of like Disney, very soft looking thing, but if that's the case, then look at what they did in Moana, for instance. This guy looks very Moana-ish. So look at what they did with Moana and try to get a little bit more of that, because an interesting thing here is that it seems like you went for like a Borderlands style for the character, like a Borderlands cartoon style, which again, I don't hate, See all of those like trim lines there on the sculpt? Like it looks very hard, like if he was made out of wood instead of like skin. And on the concept, he looks very, very soft. Like the angles and everything, they're way, way softer. Like this is an excellent exercise that everyone should be doing. And again, guys, remember, when I do this sort of like things, it's not to pick on anyone, it's to help you out, okay? So this is the kind of stuff that art directors look at. Like, how did you interpret a specific thing on this character? On the concept, look at that like nice S-curve that we have here on the arm, right? That. We don't have that there. You went for a different vibe. So what you would have need to do here is clean this up and get this very smooth curve going into the hand, especially here on the... There we go. See that? So from this to this, to really like clean up that curvature and generate something that's a lot more stylized. This is a very stylized character, and that's what you want to be able to capture on all these things right here. Same for the hand. Look at that nice little curvature that he has right there. That's the kind of stuff that you really want to emphasize when you're doing the hand right here. That stuff right there. Okay? So very, very important. So yeah, hair. We have a hair live stream, Martin. There's, well, we have several hair. It was probably done using action, so it's fur. It's actual fur. Like every single hair strand is being like rendered. I'm not sure I understand your question, Kazutora. Can you elaborate a little bit more? How can we choose what concept art to use? That's a good thing that you ask. There we go. So I have this video. I did this 1 year ago. Look at that. We haven't even passed the 1K views. This giveaway is no longer available, right? But if you take a look at this video, it's literally called How to Pick a 3D Project. I explain the steps that I follow when picking a 3D project. So just look for that. Look at that. It was even in the old studio. So I have this sort of like flow chart of what's the best thing that you can do to pick. And then later on, I go through our station and I explain which ones would be good projects and which ones would be bad projects to learn something specific. So literally just look on the YouTube channel, Leal, How to Pick a Project, or how to pick, is it a project or a concept? A project. So how to pick a project, and you're going to find the video. Okay. So there we go. So Rory, okay, so that's the first one. Yeah, so which ones would I take out? I would probably take out this environment, because you're doing a lot of characters and then we have like a random environment right there, so it doesn't make a lot of sense. You do have some cool stuff. I really like this goblin right here. I would probably redo the skin on this goblin. All of the assets look really nice. I like them. Again, it's a little bit on the dark side for the rendering, but they look good. I like the rust and everything. It's just the skin looks very plasticky, very fake. So if you're reworking stuff, I will rework that goblin. This one I like. Very, very creepy. But it's not the full body. We want the full body. So if you can, or if you have the full body, show the full body. It's not a bad one, this one. I like that one. If your character should only have one texture set, yeah, you just pack everything into a single UV. You're gonna suffer in the UV like density, right? Like the texture is not gonna be as high res. But if that's what they're requiring you to do, this one's a good one. We want for this one, man. Just show me some UVs and some what's the word? Like the standard pose. Hopefully you did this in a traditional pose. Hopefully you didn't do this like in pose. And seeing the wireframe is very important in this one, Rory. Let's take a look at this one, the Knight. I don't like this one, Rory. I think this one is a little bit of a miss. The composition, even the armor looks very plasticky, very fake. Where are you doing the render? Unreal, it says right here, but I don't feel like we're really showing your skills. Yeah, I don't like the hair. Looks nice. I like the hair. If you want to showcase the hair, just showcase the hair and the head. But some of the armor pieces, they look very fakeish. Kind of look like rubber. So I don't particularly like this one. I might take this one out. And it hurts. It hurts to take some stuff out because we spend a lot of time on it, right? This one I really like. This one's a fun one. Very whimsical one. Again, we want to see some wireframes. I know we have the breakdown right here. Here's the thing, guys. Not every single recruiter likes to see breakdowns or like watch videos. So it's better if you just show everything with images, because it's easier to just go through them and see what works and what doesn't. This one is actually really good. Like, see, like the skin that you have here with this character is the skin that you should have on this goblin right here. And this is a very important, like, a piece of advice for everyone, guys. Every single piece that you include in your portfolio should hold with every single other piece. So it doesn't make sense to me that we have a really good skin texture on this one and then we don't have a really good texture on this one. The same way, it doesn't make sense to me that we have a really good armor, like material and texture for this guy, and then we don't have a good material texture for this one. So that's sort of what's the word? That's sort of like variability or inconsistency, I would say. It makes me like question a couple of things, like why are we not spending the same amount of time that we did with this one on this new one, right? And if you don't have the time, then keep it as a practice, showcase it again on your socials, but don't show it here on your portfolio. This one's fun. This kind of stylized stuff, guys, is very famous as well, especially in indie stuff. Yeah, the low poly is fine. Texture can definitely be improved as well, because I do feel it falls a little bit flat on certain areas. Like, I would add a little bit more light and stuff, but I like the concept. Like, this is a fun concept. Yeah, this works very, very nice. It's just work a little bit more on the textures. What do I mean by the textures? And by the way, this is something that I'm learning, sort of like hand-painted textures, right? But if you have this fish right here, there's always going to be a little bit more light in certain areas. So what we can do, grab another brush, this one, is just start adding and highlighting things a little bit more, right? So where do we expect light to be hitting the character a little bit more? And then we go a little bit lighter. Like this. This is kind of like hand-painted stuff. I know there's PBR because there's like roughness and things like that, but that's sort of like highlights and things like that. They can really, really help push some of this information up. And then to make this look wet, we add a couple of like glossy highlights across the surface, right? And then all of this we can just like linear dodge into top of this, or like overlay, multiply, probably like color dodge is working nice there. Just reduce the intensity a little bit. But see how this little pass there makes the whole character pop? And that's the kind of stuff that you can do in Substance. Like this thing in Substance, it's a really, really easy like couple of layers that you can stack on top, and it's gonna go from this sort of like uniform looking skin to something that looks a little bit more interesting. So make sure to always push those sort of like highs and lows on your element. Yeah, this is a cool one. Like this one, if you do like traditional hand painted stuff, this will be a very, very fun character to do in traditional hand painted stuff, like non-PBR, right? But yeah, good stuff, Rory. Cifras, yes, Cifras. This is the September reviews. We're doing it 1 week earlier because since the submissions were already closed, it just felt like it. So Pedro Lampeira, let's go with Pedro. Says, hi Abe, enjoyed watching your videos and I love your work. Thank you so much, my friend. Since the last time you did a review of my portfolio, I evolved and would like to know if I'm in a good path and would love your feedback. Okay. Okay, yeah, I remember some of these pieces. Now, yeah, I think I remember this one right here, the Black Death, yeah. Too dark again? It's a little bit on the dark side, Pedro. So, Pedro, couple of things right here, because I've already took a look at your portfolio, so I think we can, like, again, like pinpoint specific things. I've probably already told about, like, specific texturing things and elements, so let's go with the important stuff. Why do we have a bonsai tree on our thumbnail and not on our main elements? That's a question, right? Like, we need to be able to understand why that is happening. We can definitely improve our textures a little bit more, man. Especially with this, like, helmets. Whenever you're doing something that exists in real life, people will compare it to what they look in real life. So if we take a look at some of this, like, samurai helmets, right? Like this one right here, you can see how the material shades. No, that's a 3D print. Go for a realistic one. Yeah, this one is a real one. So you can see how the material shades, how the elements are like rendered and all of these things. They're amazing. I went to one of the samurai exhibitions when I was in LA. And And you need to try to transfer that into your pieces. Right now, again, I don't think we're doing it. And it's a very, very easy way to see, for instance, the gold, right? So if you compare, again, I'm definitely going to be doing a short about the gold thing, because people mess this one quite a bit. So if we compare the gold, you can immediately see that it doesn't look like it, right? It looks too yellowish, too like burned out. Same for the details here on the element, like this sort of like metals, it's not really working. So we gotta be very careful in comparing to our reference and trying to match it. I'm not sure if I can do here in this in post. Let me try. No, it's just speaking everything. So, but it's important that you try to match things a little bit closer between the elements. Okay, always watch your reference, man. Actually, let me take a look at something here. Yeah, topology. Yeah, topology is not bad. A little bit dense on certain areas, but it's not bad. Now, the next thing that I'm gonna tell you, Pedro, and I've mentioned this before, not only on your portfolio, this one's really good, by the way. I like it. Very clean. Way better. Nice. I like this. Way better. But here's the thing, Pedro. We need to showcase. Right now, you're giving yourself the title of 3D environment and prop artist. Right now, I see you more as a prop artist because I don't see an environment. We need to see all of this within the context of an environment. So for instance, if you want to like continue working on this Winchester, let's look for Wild West environment concept art. And you need to try to do something from the Wild West as an environment art. Now, I'm not telling you, hey, go in and model this whole village, because I know it's going to take a long time to do something like that. But you can definitely try to do like a old saloon concept art, right? So if you do the interior of an old saloon, like this one right here, this one does look like a little bit like 3D, but something like this, and then you have the Winchester just lying around. That's how you create stuff, because that's the main issue with people who want to get into environment art. They see a cool piece like this one right here, right? They see a cool piece like this one right here, and then instead of thinking about this as an environment, they start thinking about this as individual pieces, and they do the chair, they do the broom, they do the lamp, they do the another chair right here, they do this cabinet, but they forget about the floor, they forget about the walls, they forget about the windows, and at the end, they don't have an environment. What they have is multiple props that might be very good props, but it's not an environment. So my advice, if you're doing something like this, do the floor first, do the walls first, do the ceiling first, do the doors and the windows and all of these things. Once the room is ready, now you start working on the assets, right? Like the chair and the broom and the clock and all that stuff. Because people, again, hyper focus too much on the cool things, which in this case would be the chairs and this oven right here, and then forget about the simple things. They're like, oh, they're simple, I'll do them later, and then they never do them. So you gotta try and figure, or you gotta try it and think about the big picture first. And I'm gonna give you an excellent example of how this works. Imagine a client comes to me and they're like, Abe, I want you to do this scene. We're gonna be doing like a Western thing, and we need this scene for a specific part of the shot. And it's like, sure thing, I will do it for you. And then I take a look at the concept, and I'm like, oh, this is a very cool chair, I want to do it. And they tell me, hey, you got 8 weeks. This is important. You got 8 weeks, so 2 months, to do the full thing right here. Cool. And then I see this and I'm like, oh, the chair's very nice, I'll spend 1 week on it. And it's like, oh, I really like this prop and this like whole cabinet. And I spent 2 weeks doing these things. And then I'm like, oh, I really like the oven. I'm gonna do like another week on the oven, right? And then at the chair, that's another week or 2 weeks with like these things right here, and the lamp and the little skull right there. So I started modeling all of the props, and suddenly I've spent 6 weeks modeling everything, all of the props, but I don't have the room ready. I don't have the render. I don't have the atmosphere. I don't have the sort of like main like basic shapes of the whole thing. And it's like, uh-oh, we only have 2 weeks to do everything else. So what's better? It's a better approach to do the whole thing first, and maybe it's gonna take me 3 weeks, right? 3 weeks to do again the ceiling, the walls, the beams, the windows, this thing. I set this into Unreal, I start like laying everything up, and what could happen is, hey, we're in week 7 and I'm still missing maybe this thing right here, maybe this guy's right here, maybe the basket, maybe the oven, but I have everything else. Well, since you have everything else, you can already deliver it and be like, hey, I'm still missing a couple of things. Do we have more time? If you do, cool. If you don't, well, it sucks, but at least you can like deliver something that's workable, right? Like you can just duplicate a couple of assets to fill that space, even you fail, right? So it's kind of like a safer way to work on the general shapes first and then nail or go down to the more particular stuff rather than the opposite way. So yeah, that will be my advice for you, Pedro. Try to see how you can incorporate some of these assets. Like if this one is a really good one, try to see how you could incorporate this into AC. Let's see some questions. Oh, that's a great one. That's a great question, 3D artist. So mega scans. By the way, there's a huge thing about mega scans because they're changing and we might not have access to them anymore. The problem with mega scans is that they do make people a little bit lazy. So if you are going to be using mega scans, it's fine, especially for environment stuff. But for instance, like this roadside construction, let's say you're doing a construction site and they tell you to do a tractor, right? Like something like this. If they tell you to do a tractor and your modeling and texturing skills are not to the level of what you can get from all of these mega scans, it's just gonna look very weird because the whole environment is gonna look amazing and then the main piece is gonna like suck. So the problem with mega scans is you need to be sure that you can do the exact same level. So actually a good sort of like exercise is something like this. Like try to model and sculpt a like concrete barrier that looks to this level of like detail. Can you do it? If you can, again, you sort of like earn the right to use like mega scans. It's not that you earn the right, but that way you're sure that if you need to model something that's not in mega scans, you're gonna be able to do them. So they're really, really good. Use them, go ahead, especially if they're free, go for it. But as an artist, you should be able to do this thing right here. Like this metal barricade, I would expect anyone who has graduated from a school of 3D or has taken several courses and stuff like that to be able to do something like this. Because if you can't, what's wrong, right? Like what's happening to you as an artist? Like what are you missing? So it's fine to use them, but again, you need to know how to do things like that because yeah, it's just being safe, right? What happens if they ask you to do specific changes or to do a specific like a cone or a specific like hydrant and there's no mega scan for it? Like if you don't find it, then you're not really a 3D artist. You're just someone who knows how to like put assets together. You're more like a layout artist in that case. Yeah, they're gonna be. They say that if you go right now and claim all of them, you should have them when they do the transfer, but we'll see. Yeah, that's a good rule of thumb, Rixu. I agree. If you are certain that you could do it from scratch, use them. If you don't know it, this will be my thought process. Here we go. If you know you can do it from scratch, do it. If you don't know how to do it from scratch, but you know how or what kind of tools you might need, learn them and use them so that next time you know how to use them or do them. And if you don't even know how to approach them, you probably need to learn a little bit more about the 3D world. I mean, if you need to finish a job, go for it. At the end of the day, it's production. It doesn't matter, but I would say it's a good rule of thumb to know how to do this sort of stuff traditionally, not with mega scans. So yeah, that's it, my friend. Go for, that was Pedro, right? Yeah, Pedro, go for a full scene. That will be my advice. Eevee says, hi, I'm a long-time student of your tutorials and have learned most of my 3D skill through them. I'm making a career transition into 3D character artist and slowly building up a portfolio to get my first junior job. I don't have a traditional art degree or career path, but hoping I can bring my portfolio to the level that it can speak for itself. Yep, that's a good plan, Eevee. Let's take a look. Okay. This one's looked really nice. Careful with the metal edgeware, Eevee. That's something, if you've seen my stuff, that's something that you know I constantly remind people. Metal edgeware is a very cool tool, but it should not be everywhere. It should be on the areas that are more exposed to the damage that they're going to get. So, for instance, yes, we would expect to see a lot of metal edgeware here on the knees and maybe on the feet, but I would not expect to see as much here on the inside of the arm, right? Because you're not usually colliding with that stuff. So just tone down the metal edgeware a little bit. But this one's a very cool one. Kind of reminds me like a Power Ranger. Yeah, not bad texture. A little bit rough on certain areas. I would probably do a little bit more of a smooth paint. This paint looks a little bit too grungy. And it's important that you understand that when we're doing, especially from a design perspective, we want to have something called rest areas. So if everything's noisy and everything's grungy and things like that, it looks a little bit weird, okay? So just smooth some of your paint in future projects a little bit. Yeah, good sculpt. Polygons a little bit on the high side. We can definitely simplify a little bit more, especially in these small areas. You don't need, the smaller the area, the less triangles you're probably gonna need. So we might be able to bring this down a little bit lower. We have four 4K UDEMs. Again, kind of expected for a AAA character. Bake looks good. Yeah, this is a good one, Eevee. Again, I would avoid practice shots like this one right here. And especially this fiber mesh. I have a special, like, a pet peeve against fiber mesh. I don't like fiber mesh. And I remember when fiber, I was there. I was there when fiber mesh got released, guys. Like, I've been using ZBrush for a long time. And when they released fiber mesh, everyone was like, oh, this is so cool, it's very nice. And yes, you can get some nice results with fiber mesh, but the problem with fiber mesh is that I feel it takes more work to take something that was very nicely done with fiber mesh and make it into a production ready asset with like actual hair or hair cards than it is to just learn how to do action or hair cards. So my advice is, if you're going to be doing hair, just learn hair cards and action instead of spending time doing it in fiber mesh. Fiber mesh is really good for concept stuff, but in my personal experience, it doesn't work as nicely for production. That's a good weapon. Again, metal edgeware everywhere, Eevee. We don't want that, okay? So tone down the metal edgeware. And there's a video on the YouTube channel, by the way, that you can reference. It's called How to Do Perfect Metal Edgeware or something like that. This one I like. I feel his face is a little bit too smooth, but it's fine. The hair looks very nice on this one, and I think these are hair cards, right? Again, same advice that I gave a couple of portfolios ago. When you're doing cloths, one of the things that you want to do with cloths is you want to exaggerate the folds, okay? So there's different types of folds. On the shoulders, we usually get compression folds. On this one right here, we usually get like longer folds, and as we get towards the element, we get like tension folds. You can study this. There's a lot of information about this. And what you want to do here is you want to break the silhouette. Okay, break the silhouette. One second, there we go. We're gonna have more of this, right? Like the things pushing in and out. That's sort of like compression and things. That's what makes like cloth interesting. Otherwise, it's just like it looks lumpy and not as nice. Texturing wise, careful here with your UVs. Something is happening here on your shirt that you're not getting a uniform sort of like grain on the cloth. And this is the, again, I'm sorry that I'm, well, no, actually, I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry that I'm picking, not specifically are you, but I'm not sorry that I'm giving you guys the the information that you guys need to know about. Cloth has something called a border, right? So whenever you have this shirts or any type of garment, there's always going to be a little bit of a line at the very end that gives you a clean border. So we're missing that. You can paint this. You don't need to do this in marbles. If you're using marbles, you can paint this. I don't remember what the name of this is. I think it was called like a hem or something like that. But the thing is, like cloth, right? Like you can see this on the shirt. It's a very thin piece of fabric, so that it doesn't get any sort of like errors or mistakes on the border. They fold a little bit of a piece and then they sew it, so that it gives a little bit more strength to that part. So yeah, is it better to study Action or Houdini for hair systems? I don't know Houdini, so I'm biased. I would recommend Action, but if you know Houdini also has a really nice hair system, so either one of those can work. Most of the stuff that I've seen people do for film and cinematics, they do use either Maya Action or Ordinatrix or Yeti. So I'm not sure, but I'm guessing there's of course some productions that do Houdini. Yeah. yeah, that's right, Smash. I was there when fiber, dude. I was there when Dynamesh was introduced. Like the first couple of like sculpts I did were using traditional subdivision workflows, and then they released, I think it was ZBrush 4R3. Was it that one? Oh man, ZBrush 4R3. No, ZBrush 4R3 was fiber mesh. There you go. No, that's too new then. ZBrush 4R3. No, yeah, that's right. ZBrush 4R3, February 2012. That's when fiber mesh was like roughly around there. Was when fiber mesh was introduced. I don't remember when 4R1. Was it 4R1 for Dynamesh? I don't remember, but yeah, I was there back in the day. Yes, and I actually covered a little bit of that in the Marvelous Course, Rixu. So in the Marvelous Course, there is a chapter at the end. Let me see. This one, bonus chapter, and I explained how to bring this cloths, the cloths that we do instead of marbles into ZBrush to give them a little bit more stuff. So yeah. So yeah, this is cool stuff, Eevee. I think you're in a good path. I would definitely polish some of the stuff a little bit more. I do think your portfolio is shaping out to be something nice. We need more characters, okay? So we definitely need more characters for this one. The hell, my headphones are falling all the way towards the front. Let's see. Next one. How are we doing on time? I'm gonna have to probably pick it up a little bit because... Okay, so this one is Thomas Scapini. Says, hi, I'm Thomas from Italy. You told me you like gnocchi in the July portfolio review. Yeah, I definitely do like gnocchi. About my portfolio, you told me to add something more complex, so I did 2 more works on my station. What do you think? Oh, nice. Yes, I remember the dwarf, the medieval dwarf. Nice. Okay, let's take a look at this one first. I really like the style in this one. This is a very cartoony style. Again, sort of like indie stuff, right? Nice. I like this one. I think this one's a good one. Nice, nice. Yeah, this is good. Now, for this one, my friend, what I would recommend is for you to take a little bit of a dive into, again, like hand-painted approaches or textures. Because, for instance, right now, I do feel he looks a little bit flat. So, one thing that we can do here very easily is just grab a little bit of this color, just lighten it up a little bit, and hit a little bit of the high points of the character. Right? Like a little bit on the nose, a little bit on the cheeks. It's a little bit difficult to work on such a small screen, but there we go. Right? Same for the cloth, for instance, on this cloth right here, we can go a little bit lighter and have a little bit more highlights on the top of the character. Same for this one right here. Like pretty much every color, you can always add a little bit of highlight. And that's gonna push things. Now on the skin itself, and again, it's gonna be a little bit tricky to do here because we have very little pixels on this image. But one thing you can do is you can go to the transition points and add a little bit of red color. Or sort of like a warmer color. Then again, sort of like multiply this or overlay this. Probably overlay in this case and just like lower the opacity, and that's gonna give you a little bit more of a sort of surfacey effect. So see how much like these 2 layers right here can help this guy pop. See that? So this was your original one, just like flat colors, and if we just add a little bit of highlight, it really pushes the character forward. And this is something that I actually learned from miniature painting. But it works with a lot of like hand painted stuff. So just adding a little bit more of that sort of like gradation and variation to your character can really bring him forward a little bit more. And you can do this again in Substance Painter, right? I think you use Substance for this one. So just a couple of like highlight layers. Another place you can reference this is like in makeup stuff. Like people who do like a lot of like makeup artists and things like that, they use this technique. It's called contouring and shadowing and all that stuff, and you can apply that sort of information into your characters to really make them pop a little bit more. I love this character. If this is what you want to do going forward, like if you want to do more sort of like stylized stuff, go for it. But again, we need to see a little bit more. And this one, Syringe Gun, nice. I still think this one is a little bit on the simple side of things because it's just like cylinders and straps and things like that. It's a good asset, so don't take it out of your portfolio. It definitely works, but again, it's not something that I haven't seen before. Like, I haven't seen this a specific one before, but I have seen like several of these things before. Careful with this one. This UV is flipped, so you might want to flip it back. But yeah, this is good. Oh god. What's the best way to present a profile with characters in a 3D environment? Unless both the characters and the 3D environment are really, really top notch, I'll probably just like avoid doing it. Like most of my characters on my portfolio, they're not in an environment. They're just like by themselves. I did do this one right here. This was an old portfolio or an old tutorial I did for next to it, actually. And the assets that you see right here in the environment, they're all from the Leal engine. So there we go. I'm not sure if I include that, but yeah, the assets right there, they were from the game. What was the name called? The one that they discontinued. So yeah, I normally, like, if you're a character artist, you usually want to like show your character stuff more than your environment. So yeah. Someone said something. Hey, thanks for the review that you gave me some months ago. I just got my first job as a 3D material artist. I'm so excited. There you go, Bacaloca. Congratulations, my friend. See, this is what I do here with you guys, because I'm hopeful that all of this advices and this little like tips and tricks will help you in your journey. So congratulations, Bacaloca. And it's not thanks to me. It's thanks to you and your hard work. Your hard work got you there. I'm just like giving you a little bit of a push and hopefully a couple of tips here and there. There you go. I love the wings on that character. Oh, thank you, Solid Mango. Thank you. Yeah, I like that character. It was a good one. Yes, decoding. So the material that I use is from an artist, an amazing artist named Glauco Longi. So if you look Glauco Longi Gumroth, he's got a material. Or you look Glauco Longi Gumroth UI. There you go. Where is it? Is it this one? Yeah, this one. So it's the ZBrush Hotkeys UI and materials. He shares his UI and all of his stuff. I don't use his UI. I have my own UI, but it's not a bad UI if you want to adapt to it. But he's got this Longi Sculpt, Longi Plastiline, and Longi Sculpt Spec. These are the ones. It's free. You can, of course, donate something if you want, but it's really good. Glauco Longi is his name. Paragon, there you go, Paragon. Yes, so I took the assets from Paragon. But yeah, good stuff, Thomas. Let's go to the next one. Brauli Aurieria says, hi Eve, thanks for your content and review. My focus is 3D character for games. I would like to know if with my skills it's possible to get an entry-level remote job. First impression that I get is that you're very close. You're very, very close. The one thing that's like stopping me from saying you are like perfectly ready is that I do feel some of the sculpt can be improved a little bit more. Texturing is not bad. Shaders can also be improved just a little bit. But it's just like there's a little bit of an uncanny valley thing going on the face right now, Brawley. Same for this like skull right here. It just looks very plasticky, very sort of like clay-like. It's not as sharp as I would expect some of the skulls to look like, right? The good thing that I can tell you, man, and that's why I'm telling you that you're very close, is that you are showing that you know the full pipeline. So you know modeling, sculpting, UVs, texturing, and that's cool. But we do need to work a little bit more on the forms, okay? So on the forms of the characters, that's what we need to do. Yeah, because this optimization is fine. We can optimize it a little bit more. This is actually a great opportunity here for some explanation. And we covered this on the retopology for games course. But see all of these lines right here? These are not good, man. So this loop that you have right here, that's great. Loops on the eyes, loops on the mouth, that's good. But all of these lines right here are going to give you a very sharp border. So we need to optimize them a little bit. Same for all of these ones right here on the ears. We need to optimize them. And that's like a little bit of a tell that you are still learning a little bit about this process, because we have very low situation or very low resolution right here and then very high density right here. It should be more uniform, okay? Way more uniform. Because this is definitely a little bit on the high poly side of things, okay? So we need to find a way to reduce this. Just collapse them. Just collapse some of these lines. Same for this ones right here, because it needs to be a little bit more uniform. Check the retopology course if you want, probably, because I think that one can definitely help you. Now, another thing is you should include that retopo information here on your characters as well. Yeah, so this one's getting a little bit better. I still see a little bit too many lines here on the eyes and, for instance, here on the nose. So it has room for optimization, but it's definitely getting a little bit better. And this one's it's better. It's improving. That's what I'm telling you, man. You're really, really close, but we need to again work a little bit more on the sculpting side of things, I would say, because some of the sculpts do look a little bit on the there we go. This one's gonna allow me to show you what I mean. So, for instance, this shoulder patch right here, this trim that you added, it looks like you just used like a brush to create that pattern. You want to create a different shape. You want to export this one and create like layers to it, right? And then you bake those layers down. Because otherwise it just looks like it's made out of clay. Like everything's made out of clay. Same for this ones right here. Like all of this like clots that are going around, I know that you use some sort of like clay because you can see the clay strokes. You probably want, if you want to do more realistic cloth, you can use the dynamic system instead of ZBrush, or you can try Marvel's Designer. But it's one of those things that we need to improve a little bit, okay? Because your anatomy is fine. Like hands are fine. There's a couple of muscles that we're missing here on the character. Couple of details that we can improve, but in general it's getting there. It's the construction of these assets, and I do have a free resource for you. So Plague, Doctor Mask, Leal. So this one right here. So this was a live stream that we did earlier this year, and there's a couple of live streams. It's like 2 or 3 hours. And I show you how I do this one. And one of the things that you're gonna notice me doing is that I split this mask into multiple parts. I don't try to sculpt it from one single element, and the trims and everything, I extract them. So all of this is free. It's there on YouTube. Just go watch it. Get ad block, Abe. See, I thought about getting ad block, Alan, but we do get ads on the YouTube channel, so it felt a little bit of what's the word? It felt a little bit hypocritical to be getting like paid with ads and not watching a couple of ads in return. So yeah, that's just me. How often do you guys clean off your desks? Every day, every week, every month, or when you start to see stuff moving? I usually clean it every week. Like right now, it's a little bit on the dirty side of things, so I definitely need to clean it. But yeah. So yeah, that would be my advice for you, Brawley. Check that Doctor Mask thing, or check the Oni course where we cover a little bit more of that prop construction as well. That one works as well. Let's go to the next one. Oh man, we're not even halfway through, and we're already halfway through there. Okay, so I'm gonna pick it up. My name is Mohammed. I'm a self-3D artist with the interior architecture background. I learned the topology, UV, baking substance. Okay. Almost 35 years old. That's not an issue, man. Age is not really that important. It plays a factor, but it's not important. So I can see myself doing something else. My passion. Okay, so let's take a look. Okay, so you want to change careers. That's interesting. My advice is only do the change once you're safe, right? So if you already have a stable job doing architectural visualization and things like that, and you want to do this on the side and eventually move on to some like indie stuff and things like that, that's great. But Nabil, hey, welcome. But I always recommend like keeping it safe, right? Especially as we get older, we have some responsibilities that we need to attend to. So imagine if, for instance, I told my wife right now, hey, I want to drop all of the 3D stuff and I want to become a blacksmith. It's like, dude, like, no, it's not possible. You have a kid, you have a family, you have a house and a mortgage and everything to pay. So it's not as easy to make those transitions, right? Now, some of these models are okay. We can definitely improve on the texturing side of things, Mohammed, and especially on the polygon side of things. Like, this do look a little bit too low poly. Nowadays, you can definitely go a little bit higher on poly count, okay? Now, again, similar thing. Like, we have a very cool environment up here, and we don't have it down here. So, where is it, right? It makes me question about some of this stuff. This weapon's, again, a little bit on the low poly side, and texturing, you definitely need to improve a little bit more on texturing. I like the simplification. There's definitely some topology things here as well, Mohammed, that we need to change. Oh, this is a weep. Okay, that's great, This one's better. Again, I think you're still stuck a little bit in the like the early 2000s, where low poly was a little bit more important. Nowadays, you don't have to go that low poly. Like this one is a good balance, but the harp or like this globe right here, you can definitely increase the poly count, especially on this loop right here. Otherwise, it does look very faceted, right? It looks very, very low poly. Yeah, the harp is nice. Yeah, so that's a good piece, Mohammed. For props, that's really, really good. This one looks nice, at least in the thumbnail. Yeah, it's not bad. That's a good one. 26 remaining. Oh my god. Okay, no, I definitely need to pick it up. Okay, so Mohammed, good stuff, but we definitely need to improve a little bit on the pipeline side of things. I recommend the Substance Painter course that I have for some of the substance stuff, or some of the texturing stuff, because that's one of the things that jumps out to me very like intensely on your stuff, that textures can definitely be improved. Go to the next one, Kaz. So I'm gonna try to do, because otherwise we're not gonna finish. So we have 26. It's gonna have to be like 3 minutes per each one. So this is Kaz. I'm a self-full 3D character artist focusing on realism. Right now, I am looking for an entry job based in Canada. However, not seen many openings. Yeah, Canada is actually going through a little bit of a hard like process right now. There's been a lot of things that people have been changing, or studios and tax credits and things like that have been eliminated. So you might want to try and see if there's anything on the like north side of US as well, Cass. Okay, I see that you've gotten some of my courses, which is great. I always appreciate that. This is, of course, Thyros. You name him Hector. That's nice. It's a good sculpt. You don't have the other part, which is the texturing side of things. And one of the things that you definitely want to do, Cass, is do the full pipeline. This one, since it's interesting, because it kind of looks like it was inspired by my Marvelous course, but at the same time, this is not using Marvelous. It looks like you sculpted the things, and that's why you can see that it looks a little bit like clay. My best advice, Cass, for you, yeah, this one's better. Your anatomy is improving. You might want to check and see if you want to get the anatomy for 3D artist course. That could help you. Because again, I can see that you know the pipeline, so sculpting, UVs, texturing, rendering, but we're missing the... oh, that's a really cool concept. I'm gonna download that one. I like that one. For like hand-painted stuff, that one, it's very, very cool. So we need to improve a little bit more in our forms, okay? So for instance, you can see this crown here on the frog, and it's not as nice or as sharp as what we have here on the actual concept. So we need to be very careful, Cass, on how we approach those forms. And I can see that as a sort of like prevalent situation here with your portfolio, even with this goblin right here. For instance, here I'm gonna give you a quick note. This is interesting because, for instance, you're rendering at 4K, and that's cool. But before focusing on rendering, I would recommend you focus on the, again, on anatomy. For instance, here we go. So the shoulder muscle, called the deltoid, goes right here, and then that's the pectoral muscle, and it creates, or it should create, a little bit of a ledge right here. So it pushes out, and then it pushes in. So it creates this sort of like strong situation. Then here, your muscles are a little bit wrong. Yes, this is the bicep. Here we're gonna have the tricep on the back of the arm, and then we're gonna have the elbow. I'm not seeing the elbow. The elbow would be there, and then we have a muscle called the extensor carpi radialis longus that goes towards the front of the arm, like here, like this. Okay, and we generate another silhouette right here. So all of those things are the intricacies of anatomy. You're missing some muscles right here as well. The serratus anterior. You can see the difference, right? So it really will make your character stronger if we have a better understanding of anatomy. And that anatomy, of course, can be transferred to all of the other characters, which is the same on this one right here. Like, this is a good execution, but again, we're missing some important folds and important elements on the anatomy of the face, so that it really reads like a cool character. I like the fact that you did this right here. The hair looks very nice, and even the render it's a good render. but it's missing some of the like forms, so they really looks like a character with like functional anatomy. So that will be my advice for you. Now we go with Satya Prakash. Says, hi, I'm Satya Prakash from Lucknow, India. I have 2.5 years of experience in 3D. I'm interested in learning the software, which is ZBrush. I'm trying to become a prop artist. Could you take a look at my portfolio? Nice! Yeah, this is nice. I love these wagons. I haven't done a wagon. I definitely need to do a wagon. So wagons are fun. Yeah, this is good, man. I really like it. I would probably just add something else because right now it's just wood and metal. So if you added some like cloth things or something, that might be interesting. Some of this crooked wood looks a little bit weird. Like wood's normally not done like that. Especially like this detail, it's a little bit too uniform. That would be my advice for this one. But it's good. It's a little bit between the stylized and realistic like place, but I like it. Wooden workbench. There we go. Yeah, this is what I tell you guys. This is how you can make a complex asset out of a lot of like very simple things. I feel like this stool is a little bit on the small side of things compared to some of the other stuff. But yeah, this is good. What you're missing here are some wireframes. That's pretty much it. Just wireframes on that element right there. Nice. Nice texturing, man. Good stuff on the texturing. Okay, good wireframe. This is definitely a little bit on the heavy side. It's nice. Yeah, great presentation. That's the sort of like level you want to have, man. Then we have this Indian truck. Interesting. Yeah, cool stuff. I think now, man, what you can do, my friend, is just start going for, again, a little bit more complex stuff, because most of these things that I'm seeing here, it's very blocky, right? Very boxy. So you might want to try and do something a little bit more complicated. Something with a little bit more for an organic, sort of like a hard surface look to it. But this is good stuff, man. You definitely have a good shot right here. Another advice, change your thumbnail here, like your cover picture, especially this like box. It's not good compared to everything else you've done. But yeah, this is good, man. Good stuff. Let's go now with J Bowman. Jason Stockdale says, hi, I'm Jason Stockdale. I have 12 years in 3D. I also have a bachelor's in game art. I've been working freelance for the past 8 years. I've made a few hero characters for some indie titles. I found that there are a lot of different options out there to work, so I have had a few jobs using 3D for collectibles and 3D fun. Yeah, this is great, man. Skills from sculpting, texture, and line. I would like to work more in collectibles in the future, but I want to also get my skills up to par to be able to apply to big studios with confidence. I want to get to the level of Jay Hill, Jared Chavez, and Michael Plouffe. Nice, let's take a look. Okay. Whispers of Magia, Chapter 1, Hotaka. I mean, the cool thing, or the big advantage you have, Jason, is that you already have experience, and you have been doing this for a long time, so that's really, really good. Now, what we need to improve on, as you mentioned, is completing the pipeline, I would say. There's a couple of anatomy issues there on the horse that you could improve. The anatomy of the female is nice. It works. Again, interesting decision on having this environment right here and not having anything down here. Desert Drake. Okay. You might... I mean, the texture is really nice. Where are you doing the texture? Are you doing this in post-production or in poly paint? Kind of looks like poly paint. Oh. Nice. Yeah, so most of this looks like a lot of poly paint, which is okay, especially if you're going to be doing collectibles. But if you want to learn the full thing, like you mentioned Jay Hill, which is of course an amazing artist, he knows the full production pipeline, right? So retopo, UVs, all of that stuff. Because your sculpting is quite nice. But of course, there's a limit to what poly paint can do. So for instance, this renders right here, they look very plasticky, very fakey, if you can call them something. The sculpt I like. So one thing that I might advise for you, my friend, you might want to try doing more clay renders instead of this poly paint renders, because I feel like the poly paint is kind of like being like a double-edged sword. It works on some of your pieces, but it's not working as much on some of the other pieces. Now, another thing that you definitely want to try out, especially if you want to get into collectibles, which is a huge market nowadays, you are one of the few like elements where I would recommend doing what's the word? I would recommend doing fan art. I know I've been saying no, don't do fan art can hurt you and stuff like that, but in your particular case, fan art can't really help you, okay? So try to do some fan arts, try to do some Batmans, try to do some Spider-Man, Supermans, Wolverines, things like that, because especially for collectibles, people will be looking at you for that kind of stuff. What do you mean? What's the name of the live stream? Your webcam is in front of the name of the live? What do you mean? I'm not sure what you mean. Yes, you can use polypaint as a base. I don't use polypaint a lot, but it's a good solution. It's a good option. There you go. Let's go to the next one. Efren Montenegro. By the way, we're probably gonna be even reducing the quantity of portfolios even more next time, because I want to be able to give everyone a fair shot at some feedback, and if I'm rushing things, it becomes more complicated. Oh, thank you. Oh my god. Getting my allergies again. Says, hello there, Eve. I'm Efren Montenegro from Ecuador. I'm an animation student at San Francisco de Quito. I'll be graduating in a few months, and I've been working hard on my portfolio. I'm looking forward to get a job as a 3D character modeler. Zebra Substance Major. Okay, let's take a look. Thank you, guys. Thank you. The live stream you recommend for portfolio? Oh, the live stream about the Plague Doctor Mask. Look for Plague Doctor Mask live stream, and you're gonna be able to find that one, man. Sorry. Oh god, salud, gracias. Okay, cool. So let's take a look at this, man. The first thing that I noticed, my friend, is that you have multiple characters. That's good. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 characters. That's really good. First thing I would recommend, let's take out some of the stuff that's not working, right? So for instance, this Speedcraft right here and this Legend of Zelda Master Sword, I think that they're not really working. It's not a bad model, but it's not a great model either. So it might be a good idea to take them out. Same for this frog right here. It's a fun frog. It's not a bad frog, right? But it's just a skull. You didn't do the full pipeline. It's just like a skull right here. So just take it out. It's not really gonna help you as much. So I really like this one. Has like a Pinocchio girl. Okay, friend, I think I know what I'm gonna be telling you, man. You have several characters that are good. Like this one right here is a good character, but you're not doing the full production pipeline. And one thing that people are gonna be looking for is that you can showcase the full production pipeline. So if you're doing all of these characters right here, like this step right here, go from here, retopo, UVs, bakes, all that stuff. Because I think the only one that has that process is this girl right here. Yeah, this one's no, and it's not even. Again, it's weird, man, because you're showing me this right here, this wireframe, and you're showing me this nice render right here, and I'm not seeing it here. Now, I'm not sure if you're here, my friend. Oh, sorry. By the time I create the... Yeah, it's not one of my streams with allergies. No, we're gonna find a way to make sure that everyone has a fair chance, man. So yeah, friend, the first thing that I'm seeing on this characters is that you are missing the full production. I'm just saying like C versus sculpts, and I'm gonna be very blunt with this, and I'm gonna be very. It's gonna sound very bad what I'm about to say. Don't take this personally. Take it as a challenge to, again, get your stuff together and do better things, right? Like do the full production pipeline. No one's gonna hire you if you're just showing ZBrush sculpts. Why are they not gonna hire you? Because it might be easier to hire someone like Jason right here that has 12 years in experience as a sculptor, right? And has way more experience and capabilities than you as a student. And again, I'm not comparing you two because both of you are in different paths in your life, right? But what I'm telling you is if you want to have the best chances at succeeding in this thing, in this what's the word? In this industry, you need to showcase that not only can you do really cool sculpts and things like that, you can also prepare them properly for the full pipeline, okay? Especially here in Latin America, I'm in Mexico, as you guys know. It's very difficult for me to hire someone that's only gonna be doing sculpts. So when I'm hiring someone, I always tell them, hey, I need you to sculpt, UV, retopo, bake, texture, and sometimes even do a basic rig, like even one of those automated rigs before we can like send it to the animator, right? So it's very important for me to tell you, a friend, that you need to show me how you are bringing all of these characters to the final step of the production pipeline. Now, I'm gonna risk saying something here. I'm guessing you're doing a lot of your own designs, right? Like most of the stuff that I'm seeing right here are coming from this very concepts, or I'm gonna say, yeah, relatively basic concepts. And I'm not sure if you're doing all of them. Like this one seems like you're not. This one's from Nicole something. It's very important that you start doing designs that are not your own, okay? Because when we do designs that are our own designs, we tend to cheat a lot. We tend to forgive ourselves from doing a lot of stuff. So you gotta take a look at that, okay? Let's go now with Kenneth. Kenneth says, hi, Eve, Kenneth Kid from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Long-time watcher, first-time poster. I've just graduated from a 3D animation and visual effects diploma program, and I'm about to begin my qualified career. I have about 1.5 years of experience. I include my public-facing link, but can provide the profile in chat. Let's go. Okay. Let's go to the portfolio here with Kenneth. Okay, Kenneth, I see some good stuff, like this wooden shield. It's, again, a good asset, but it's on the simple side of things. And I've mentioned this before. If it's too simple, it might not be worth it for your portfolio. I did a shield last year. One of the first videos I did here for the YouTube channel was a shield, and I show you the whole process. So, and it's not in my portfolio because it's relatively simple to do a shield. Anyone who knows the basic tools can do a shield. So right now what I see, my friend right here, is that you do have the skills, it seems. Like you've learned about like Unreal, you've learned about modeling, texturing, but we don't really have a big project to showcase that those skills. Like this city right here would be an amazing one. Like finish this one. This could be your main portfolio piece if you do all of the different things that you need. Careful with the metal edgeware. But we need to see a big project, okay? Right now, this portfolio right here does not have a big project, like a project that goes me or makes me go, damn, that's a cool project, okay? And that's a problem, because if there's not a big project, it's gonna be a little bit difficult. Let me take a look at your animation, because sometimes what I see is that there's some modelers that are actually really good animators. I've been told that I'm really good at animating, at least the basic stuff, but the thing is I hate animating, so I don't like doing it. Okay, it's okay, but now we're definitely having a little bit of a robotic feel right there. Yeah, so maybe if you want to focus more in modeling and texturing, that's fine, but we really need to grab a project that makes us again go, that's nice. So if you want to do environments, which is what I see right there, you can do, for instance, medieval forge concept art, right? And try doing the whole forge, like something manageable, of course. And this is what I mentioned on the how to pick a project video. Something manageable. Like, I don't want you guys to go and be like, yeah, I'm gonna do this like super huge forge with a lot of things and a lot of assets. Stuff like that takes time, and usually it's a full team of artists that does something like that. But you can definitely do something that's a little bit more approachable, right? So try to see if I can find an example right here. Something like this. Like, just doing this small little house right here is a good project for a portfolio. It shows that you can do tileable textures, that you can do modular assets, that you can do PBR texturing, bakes, all that stuff. But it's not just one barrel, right? It's not just one shield. It's a bunch of different props that come together and create something that looks a little bit nicer. Okay, let's go. Let me close some tabs and let's go to the next one. Martini says, Martini, thanks so much for doing this. I've been doing 3D for a while, but never got a job with it. My main focus is making visually compelling sculptures for 3D printing. Okay, I've heard before that my models may be a little too detailed for tabletop. I'm hoping to try and have some like figurines people can also print. Let's take a look. A secondary goal of mine is to make intriguing illustration with my sculptures. Okay, let's take a look. Okay, you're definitely going into this very horror themed space. I haven't seen a lot of. Oh well, there's this modelers. They're called Archvillain Games, and they do a very, again, like realistic horror stuff theme elements. So you might want to reference them. It's always very important, guys, and this is a life lesson for everyone. this thing that we do as 3D is also part of a business, right? Like a market. There's a lot of like people selling, buying things around the world. And one of the things that you need to do is you need to look and see what others are doing. So if you try to work on a sort of like an isolation like process and just think that people are gonna go and look at your stuff just because it's your stuff, it's not gonna work. Like you gotta compare yourself and see what others are doing, what's working for them and what's not working. Don't do what's not working and then do what is working, right? So in your particular case, I think you have a good like a good product, like a good like characters. Like I could definitely see this guys being 3D printed and painted for like collectors and things like that. But you gotta see how to market your stuff in a different way, right? So for instance, one thing that I've seen people do is they'll do things like a collection, right? Like they'll be like, hey, I'm gonna do, just to do a very basic example, I'm gonna do the 7 like sins, right? Like I'm gonna do all of the 7 traditional scenes from like religion, like Christian and Catholic myth, and I'm gonna do 7 different demons that represent each of the sins, and then you sell them as a collection, right? Like you create like a little box and you maybe 3D print them and sell them, or just sell the STLs, but you sell them as a product, right? So that's a different kind of like advice that I'm giving you, but I'm doing it because you're mentioning about 3D print. And it's about how would you like to buy a product, or how would you package a product so that it's good for people to be, what's the word, so that people can see it. No, let me phrase that again. Sorry, I got mixed up with one of the comments, and I'm gonna answer it in just a second. When you're trying to provide or sell a product, you need to put yourself in the shoes of who the consumer is going to be and ask yourself, what would I like as a consumer to be buying, right? So if you're going to be doing this kind of stuff right here, what would you include in this? Is it going to be a cool illustration, like a card with a little bit of lore or something about it? Does it have enough detail? Are you including supports? All of that kind of stuff, it's important. Now, I do think you're going a little bit too like flimsy with all of these things. Like all of this like very thin fingers can very easily break in 3D prints. So you might want to again reference what they're doing on some of the other things right here, my friend, so that you can get again, so that you can offer a product that's a little bit more desirable by others. Now, this is another important thing. If you see that the market for this sort of like horror, very creepy looking things is very small, you might want to try to see what other things you could do to appeal to a broader audience, right? Because that's one of the things that's gonna give you a little bit more ideas to go from there. But you definitely have the sculpting capabilities. I can see a lot of really cool sculpts here on your portfolio. So yeah, definitely keep working on that, and you can probably find a niche specifically about that. Do you think I should separate the illustration images and the sculpts in my portfolio? Yes, I would probably do that. I'll probably separate those two things. Efren says, if I'm working on characters, is it necessary to rig the characters so they can be posed, or should I sculpt post characters and retop? No, you should always sculpt in like a traditional B pose, and then with proper topology, you should be able to rig them fairly quickly. And I have videos about that. You can use this software called AccuRig, which is free, especially for humanoid characters. So AccuRig is really good, and it'll give you a basic rig that you can pose a character with. So yeah. Will the environment course be releasing in September, October? That's a great question. It's a complicated answer though. So we'll talk about that soon, hopefully. It's coming. It's coming, but unfortunately, I'm facing a very hard decision with that course that I need to sort of like go through, and but it's coming soon. I hope I'm going to be able to release it at the end of October. I think that will be a good sort of like date, but there's some big changes. It's NDA. Yeah, it's NDA right now. Some big changes on that course. Okay, let's go on the next one. Eigor has submitted before, and this is the new one that he's submitting. Electra. Nice stuff. Yeah, Eigor has always been doing very, very cool stuff. So he's doing this version of Electra, Dark Devil Electra, in like a medieval theme. This is really good, Eigor. Really, really good. Nice job. Yeah, I really like it. Hair looks very nice. See, this is what I mean by clean renders. Only focusing on the character. No need to focus on other things. Nice detail on the suit. I'll probably exaggerate this fold a little bit more. That's just personal preference. Just to like give it a little bit more variation. A couple more wrinkles maybe, because it looks a little bit too smooth in certain areas. But that's just like neat peeking. Okay, yeah, that's expected for like a AAA character, so not bad. Optimization. It's mostly on the hair where you're having a lot of like elements. I love these details right there. UV sets. How many UVs do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's a little bit heavy on the UV sets, so this might be something more for like cinematics rather than gameplay. Not too fan of this final shots, to be honest. I would probably take them out, Eigor. Like if I can give you an advice, it would be just take this ones out. It's like this one is too too simple, and especially because she's not in a pose, she's just like standing still. It looks a little bit awkward. So yeah, just take this ones out. You don't need them. You have a great product, like great breakdowns here. Yeah, amazing like cloth and work. I would again just exaggerate this like elements a little bit more maybe, but other than that, great result, man. Eigor has shown a couple of other projects before, and one of the advices I've given him, because he actually took a couple of mentorships with me a couple of months ago, and on this gesture right here, you can take a couple of minutes, pause, and pick new roles in self-assign. Oh, okay, yeah, I can do that. 1 second, I'll do that. So Eigor showed this character a couple of months ago, and one of the advices I gave him was to optimize things a little bit better, because he was using way too many UDIMs, and he was using too much texture on some of the stuff. So yeah, this is a great one. I love this one. Love this one. Really good one. Very nice character. Okay, so are you parenting every asset to one for rigging? Yes, you usually parent stuff when you're rigging like a character with multiple barbs. So David is telling me that we now have self-assigned roles. There we go. So if you are on the Discord channel and you go to this section right here, self-assigned roles, you can choose your 3D softwares that you're familiar with, and it will give you a specific role. What role are we getting? I'm not sure. So for instance, I know ZBrush, Maya, Blender, Substance, Unreal. I don't know Houdini, Marmoset, Marvelous, Topogon. I'm gonna select 3D Code, and what's this one? Unity. I don't know Unity. So yeah, now is that gonna show? Yeah, it's gonna show on your roles. So if you go to your status, all of those softwares are gonna be there. So yeah, that's a cool tip. So now you know who or what softwares your fellow artists here on the Discord also know about. There we go. Yeah, so if we're missing any softwares, let us know. Can we add 3D Studio Max? Yes. David, just can you write those down for now, and we'll add those later today. Yeah, we definitely need to add 3D Studio Max. There we go. So if you go again to the sign roles, self-assigned roles on the Discord, you guys are gonna find them. Photoshop, that's a good one. Yeah, Photoshop. We definitely need to add Photoshop. Thank you, Alan. Enjoy your weekend as well. Thank you very much. Nomad. Yeah, we can add Nomad sculpt as well. Let's go for review and let's keep going. So that was Eigor. Let's now go with Alexander Martel. It says, hi, my first portfolio review with you. I'm intending in getting environment art and assets. Oh, dude. Is it our station failing or? No, it's you. Oh, Alexander Martel. If you are listening or if you are around here, Mari. Yes, we're missing Mari as well. Unreal Engine is there. Alexander, send me a message, man, because you did submit, but for some reason your page is not working. So send me a message, like a DM, and I'll be happy to give you a small video, okay? Let's go to the next one. Jamie or Jaime Ojeda says, hey Abe, hello from us. Jaime, it's not Jamie. Jaime Ojeda desde España. I recently graduated from a 3D modeling university course, and I am on that weird job seeking stage. I enjoy character art, so that's what I've been mainly featuring in my portfolio, and I would rather join a games company and work on real-time characters. I spend a lot of my time these days modeling miniatures for 3D printing, since I found it easier to work as a freelance in that sector. Yes, right now there's a lot of work for miniatures, so that's a good way to get around. Let's take a look. Adrienne. I I thought it was an illustration at first. Like, that looks very much like an illustration, like a card from a game or something. There's a little bit of an issue on some of the anatomy, like the hands definitely need some work, Jaime. Definitely some work. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that one. Your optimization is fine, but the execution is not great. This one's a little bit better. Or not a little bit, quite a bit better. So, yeah, good anatomy, good forms. Props can definitely be improved a little bit. I would add a little bit more detail here on this leather element. Careful with this very thin like cords as well. It can be a little bit tricky. And texturing, we definitely need to improve our texturing, man. I strongly recommend you get the Substance Painter course if you can, because in that one I specifically cover skin texturing, and that one can definitely benefit you, because I do feel like the texturing here is a little bit on the plasticky side of things. So we need to improve the texturing. Sculpting and optimization is fine, Jaime. And then we have a couple of them that I'm feeling we're gonna have the same stuff. Yeah, careful with the cloth folds. Again, Marvelous is a good way to get more realistic cloth looking. I like the fact that you did 3 guys that like play together. This is really good. yeah, really good detail on the skin and the hands. But it's just the bakes and the textures that might be your problem right now. Let's take a look at this one. Yeah, this is good stuff on the layers. It's very complicated layers. Very complex. Good optimization there. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm not sure. Oh, okay, that's a work in progress, so I'm not gonna evaluate it as harshly. Yeah, I think you're in a good stage with your sculpting. We definitely, especially if you want to do a character for games, we definitely need to improve our texturing level, okay? Hopefully that works. Maggot, you can do that for next month, my friend. Submissions are closed for today, but you can do that next month. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh god, no, we still have a lot. I was gonna say, okay, I think I can relax a little bit and go a little bit slower, but no. I have way too many, guys. Wow. Everything depends, Marius Baxter, but I would say maybe a character you can have 4 UDEMs and it's relatively fine. But other than that, it's gonna be a little bit complicated. Okay, so Ofek. Take a look. Ofek. Yeah, I remember this portfolio from a couple of months ago, and yeah, we do seem to have some improvements here. So I remember the skull, the cheetah skull, which was a good exercise, good practice. Let's take a look at some of the recent things. So this Spider-Burst pinball concept. Nice, that's very interesting. I've always wanted to do a pinball machine. I actually want to like program a pinball machine instead of Unreal. I wonder how difficult that would be. Yeah, I feel like the model is fine, but we're missing more vibrancy to it, man. Like I'm not seeing, like I would expect to see more lights and more thingies and shiny elements. It's like, unless you tell me it's from Spider-Man, I really don't see the Spider-Man stuff. Like I would expect to see like a portrait from Miles or something. It's not a bad model, and it's a little bit weird. Yeah, okay, so here's the model. So yeah, it's relatively simple, I would say. I would say that's my main issue with this one. I would expect to see more stuff going on. If you're gonna be doing a lot of texture work, I want to see shiny things, shiny bits, lights, and more things so that we can really appreciate what's going on this one in particular. It's a really good idea though, like a really good idea. Tower in the forest. Definitely need to increase the lights here. It's very difficult to see what's going on, and the wagon looks very nice. See, Ofek, this is one of those times where I might tell you, just get rid of the tower and the forest and just show me this wagon. Like, this is a really nice piece. This is a really nice wagon. But this one is taking away from that. Like, I don't even see the wagon in these scenes. It's very difficult to see. And I don't think the tower, the execution of the tower is as good as the execution on this element. Now, what should you do for your next couple of projects? Like, if you're doing this for like Japanese stuff, that's great, but I would definitely recommend working a little bit more on texturing, my friend. I feel like your textures are a little bit too simple, too flat, and I would recommend again that you go a little bit more realistic with them. So that's it for you, Ofek. Let's go now with Nidus. Harshul Verma. Okay, let's take a look. So he says he's working at an advertisement company, and he wants to, well, of course, keep growing. And what do I think about the portfolio? Well, most of the stuff right here, man, is, again, simple stuff, like this one right here. And again, I don't mean to be mean, but why is this in your portfolio, right? Like, it's such a simple thing. It's just a hook. It's just a hook. So, is it modeled nicely? Yes. Is it rendered nicely? Yes. But it's just a hook, man. Like, if you're gonna be doing a simple asset, I would rather you do something that's a little bit more interesting than just a hook. Like, even like a wheel rim, like a rim from a vehicle's wheel, might be a little bit better. That would be my main takeaway from your portfolio, man. Most of this personal stuff that I'm seeing, it's very, very simple. Even this chest right here, I'm sure you can do this chest in like 1 hour or 2 at most. Like, they're very, very simple. Check the chest series that we did on the YouTube channel. I spent like 10 hours working on that chest, and even that chest is not in my portfolio. So again, that's how you can like know whether or not something should be in your portfolio or not. If it's not up to that level, it's not going to be as good. This one's a little bit better. Like, I think from all of the pieces that you have in your portfolio, that one right there is probably the best one because it's the most complex one. Same for this one. It's just a treasure map. Like, it's not telling me a story. It's not telling me anything. I appreciate your the amount of time you're spending on the presentation of it, like showing me all of the steps. But you're making the wrong choice here, my friend, about picking the right concept, okay, or picking the right thing to work on. So make sure you pick more complex things to really showcase your abilities, to really showcase what you can do, because most of this stuff are relatively simple. Okay, go with the next one. This one is he's currently seeking an entry-level position. Let's see what we have right here. Okay, so same thing that we just mentioned to the past one. These are very simple things, and a lot of these things should not be in your portfolio, my friend, okay? So first of all, take out anything that's illustration unless it's a really good illustration, and I'm sorry to tell you that these are not up to the level of illustration that we would be like expecting, right? Like, all of this are just like practices and drawings. This is not gonna land you a job, right? Like, this is not gonna be, and it's not only that it's not gonna land you a job, it's not looking good at your portfolio. So all of the simple things, this radio right here, this is just a box. The textures are not even that good, man. So let's avoid having simple things on your portfolio. A cup, again, this is when you're learning 3D, they tell you how to do a cup in the first lesson, right? So this is not something that should be on your portfolio. If you want to do something like this, if you want to add like a Coca-Cola can, make sure you do it and present it in a way that looks like it's part of an advertisement or something like that, okay? I can see that you're still working, and to be honest, man, I'm not sure how long you've been doing this, but this might be one of the portfolios that went through the cracks, because it does look like you're just starting on your portfolio journey. Like, this one's a little bit better. This is definitely an improvement based on the other ones. But here, my friend, I would strongly recommend that you remove all of the things that are not up to the level, okay? Or things that you haven't done. For instance, I'm not sure that you did this thing right here. It seems to me that, yeah, you just grab like Quixel Megascans and assemble the scene. Not really what we want to see in your portfolio. But keep it up, man. I know sometimes I go with very discouraging messages and it seems like I'm telling you guys suck or something. It's not what I'm telling you. I'm just saying the industry is really competitive out there. There's a lot of competition. People are doing amazing things. So we gotta be realistic. If a cup of tea, like what you had there, my friend, is not competing against, you know, some of the cool assets that we've seen throughout today's portfolio, then you gotta pick up your game, okay? There we go, look at this, we got Mukul. It says, hello sir, I used to watch your videos and courses when I was a student. Now it's been 2 years working in the industry. Can't believe time flies so fast. Like, dang, I'm so happy watching you after so long. There you go, my friend. There you go. I'm so happy that you got a job and that you're working in the industry. That's amazing. And that's what I do. Like, I realized this a couple of years ago, and this is a little bit of a personal thing, right? But I realized that I'm really good at helping people on their early stages in the 3D career. There's others out there that are really good at helping you once you're already in advanced level, but I really enjoy like teaching the fundamentals, the beginning stages. So your first job, right, like out of the industry, and it's so happy, or I get so happy when I get messages like this one from Mukul, where you already use the stuff that I teach and you are now like way ahead, right? Like you're doing amazing things. So yeah, that it's just so heartwarming. There you go. Razor Mask here on the house as well. Let's go to the next one. Let's go with Crystal Rose. Says, hey Abe, I appreciate you helping the 3D community and guiding us in the right direction. It's awesome. I'm a creature character artist looking to do games and in-game cinematics. I work in 3D for Apple and volunteer in a studio gig as a creator artist. Nice! I want to focus on realistic dark art and body horror. Okay. I want to make works like Marco Lasov and Pablo M. Gomez. Yeah. I've got a way to give... Okay, awesome. Let's take a look. This is really good, Crystal. I like it. Nice one. I'm gonna give you here an advice. This is something that I've seen recently with vases. Bases should not be bigger than your character. Okay, I'm gonna cut the feet of the character, of course, but I would go for a base like this size. Okay, why? Because then the base is occupying too much visual space on your renders, and it might take away from your character. So I always try to keep the vases like small. I know for collectibles and things like that we do that, but I cannot zoom in. But usually vases should be, again, relatively small to the volume of your character. So careful there. Oh, there you go. That's your portfolio. Awesome. Yeah, so texturing, really nice. I like it. She looks like... her skin looks a little bit like porcelain. I'm not sure if that was the intention. A little bit on the dense side of things, and not bad. But you might... people might ask you to optimize a little bit more depending on the game. Like, it's workable, but love the base. Amazing base. Yes, nice. Awesome. 4 UDEMs. Well, 6 UDEMs. It's a little bit on the heavy side on UDEMs. I know nowadays people are telling us to go higher and higher on UDEMs, but I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys. Not every game will be able to handle this amount of UDEMs. For your portfolio, it's perfect. Like, keep doing this for your portfolio. But be mindful that when you're like actually doing this for a studio, and depending on the games that you're working on, you might not be able to do that. Yeah, this one is a little bit too on the simple side of things, Crystal. I might take this one out, to be honest. Okay, female figure study. Not bad. And this demon creature. Yeah, it's looking good. It's a work in progress, right? Yeah, there we go. He looks a little bit heavy, like top heavy. It's just a little bit of a design thing. But I might, just because he looks a little bit too top heavy, he needs stronger legs. So I might do the legs a little bit stronger. Like, you can keep them short, but I would just like make them a little bit chunkier. Because otherwise it just like looks a little bit too weird that he has such a big rib cage and then very thin elements. So I might like buff out some of the elements to balance him out a little bit. The design is in the description. Yeah, okay. So yeah, I think... Yeah, I think you're going a little bit too thin on the arms and the legs. I would just like make them a little bit bigger to balance them out. Might be a little bit weird to see here on the 2D concept art because it has a little different perspective, but I might just because he does look a little bit too chunky on the chest. Yeah, exactly. It's just silhouette. It's just silhouette adjustment. But this is good stuff, man. Like, this is really good, Crystal. Like, I really like the result that you were able to do with this like zombie right here. This will like it looks very nice. Make sure that this demon gets to the exact same level. Now, I was gonna give you another advice for this one right here, because right now, if it's just a female figure, it's not telling us anything, right? It's just a female figure, and it's not a bad female figure, but it's just a female figure. So try to think, how could you convert this into a game asset, right? And the easiest one is do it as a statue, right? So just add a couple of like damage to it, add a base, a couple of like cracks and things like that, texture it as if it's made of marble or concrete or something, and just do it a game asset, like make it a game asset. And it's gonna allow you to have an extra piece of your portfolio, and you already have most of the work done. So you kill 2 birds with 1 stone, right? So yeah. What are UDIMs? UDIMs are a way to organize your UV sets, where instead of packing everything into a single square, you use multiple squares to get way more resolution on your elements. It allows you to have a higher quality texture, but it will hit you in performance because you're getting way more textures that you need to load in render time. Oh, I would love some chilaquiles right now, man. I'm starving. I'm gonna get... No, I think I'm gonna eat mole. Mole with chicken in just a couple of... in about an hour. There we go. Let's go to the next one. Camila Scala says, "Hi, I'm a new here on the Discord and thank you for accepting me and supporting the 3D community with reviews. I'm a 3D modeler with 4 years of experience in production. In this, I have worked as both a character modeler and an environment modeler. Currently, my goal would be to find a job as an environment artist and in the mid position. I can offer myself as a senior, that would be great. I'm teaching the link to my art station where..." Okay, let's take a look. I love this one. Christmas carousel. Let's focus a little bit more on the carousel on this one, Camila. So let's do a little bit of a close-up render, because I can't really see much of the texture work, and you actually seem to have like done quite a bit of nice texture work right there. Modeling seems fine. It's definitely dense because we need all of that detail. So just like let's go closer to it. Let's go closer to it. I would take out some of the stuff in this one, in this portfolio, meaning some things that are not as great, like this Nike. Like a lot of people add like shoes to their portfolios. I don't think they're as good, to be honest. Or like this Houdini thing. I know it's procedural, but it looks a little bit more like a practice. This one's really good though. Cave Woman, nice. Love this one. Cartoony, very nice. Okay, it's just a sculpt. It would be great if we could optimize this for film or something, or see some wireframes. This one's also really cool, and I can see the concept there, and you pretty much nailed it, so that's really nice. There we go. This one is optimized. Nice. Yeah, that's cool. This one is missing just the textures. Texture that one. I would strongly recommend that you texture that one. Yeah, there you go. You got featured. Nice. Yeah, all of these accolades are amazing to have on your portfolio. They're really good. Do you think it's better to make cloth in ZBrush or Marvelous Designer? Marvelous, by far. Marvelous is way better. Yeah, so you got some cool stuff, Camila. Now, you mentioned that you want to do environment art. Yeah, you mentioned that you want to do more environment art. We need to see more environment art. So this one, for instance, the normal maps there look inverted. Careful with that. I'm not sure if it's the light, but they kind of look like they're going in instead of out. And, or the displacement map. No, it's probably a normal map, right? We need to texture this stuff. These are good models. These are good models, but we need to texture them. So, I mean, there's not much I can tell you, to be honest. You have all of the necessary skills, and you've worked on some, like, cool productions, like this one's right here, it seems. Modeling and set dressing for Iwaju, so, yeah, that's great. Like, you already have the experience, you already have the knowledge. Now the only thing you need is to work on the portfolio pieces. Like, more portfolio pieces, so that you can showcase that you want to move towards this environment side of things. So, yeah. Let's go now with Brian Lozano. Says, I'm Brian from France. I'm a journalist, 3D artist with 40 years of experience in freelance. I've worked as a 3D character artist and 3D environment artist for mobile games, and I also teach this profession in art schools. Awesome! So fellow teacher there. Right now, I'm looking at jobs as a 3D artist in a job company with 3D stylist production, and not only in freelance contract. However, it's been quite difficult to find a job in this position. Yeah, not a lot of studios are hiring, unfortunately, and that's just the state of the industry. There's a lot of freelance going on. My advice is, if you're doing freelance, just price yourself at the competitive range, like meaning you are making a good amount of money, and save for the months where things get a little bit slower or higher. This one's really good. I like it. Really nice. I normally don't recommend like texturing or sculpting in post, but this one is nicely done. Solas. Yeah, you're doing a lot of stylized, like simplified stuff. That's great. Good topology, good materials. This one's really nice. Oh, that's very advanced. Oh my god. Well, it's not that it's very advanced, but Substance Designer is always challenging. It's one of the softwares that I don't know. So seeing this kind of stuff, it's always very cool. Yeah, that's very nice. Yeah, I mean, see, my advice for you, my friend, might be to focus on one specific thing, because you have characters and you have environments. You have both of them. But I don't see enough characters and I don't see enough environments, right? So I would probably just try to pick the one that you enjoy the most and work on a couple of pieces to do that. Your stuff fits perfectly in a lot of the sort of like indie stuff that we see nowadays. So I know you say that you're in France. Europe has a lot of indie studios out there. My best advice, check the Work for Indies site. Work for Indies? Work with Indies. Check this one frequently because you might find stuff that's a little bit closer to you. And again, I know that there's a lot of indie stuff out there, so this is an excellent page to keep on your on your bookmark stuff, because you might find things in here. Now, you are doing some interesting thing with environments, and if I was in your position, I might start gravitating a little bit more toward environments, because I know that's a little bit easier to find positions for environments and props and things like that than it is to do it for characters, right? Like, we know characters, everyone knows the characters is one of those like super competitive parts, and the competition is fierce, right? So you might want to like check what the best option is going to be for you. But you got some good stuff there. Keep it up. Carlos Lobato says, I'm a hard surface artist. I've done some collaborations on video game projects, but I'm still trying to improve and establish myself as a freelance. Thank you in advance for your help and feedback. There you go. Damn, this is nice. I'm not a hard surface artist myself. I know hard surface, of course, but I don't do that as much. This is really good. My only advice, to be honest, to you, Carlos, would be to work a little bit more on texturing and rendering, because your stuff looks really nice, but it does look a little bit fakey, right? Like plasticky. And that's mainly because of the materials. Like, the materials are very shiny. This one looks a lot better. Yeah, this is really nice, man. I have serious respect for people who like doing this. I don't enjoy it, to be honest. I don't enjoy doing hard surface as much as I do doing characters and more organic things. But yeah, this is really good, man. Really, really freaking good. I mean, you might want to try and check if there's any positions open on the... what's the word? On people who are doing things like the, you know, like the airplane simulators and train simulators and car simulators and things like that. Because I think that's what I would be... like, that's where your skills could, like, fit the most. Or, you know what? Even in, like, some manufacturing industries who are looking for, like, product renders and things like that, this could, like, work really, really nice. Yeah, my only advice is, especially for the motorcycle, just work on the textures so that they can match the airplane, and that would be pretty good. Oh, here's another thing that you can do. If you start doing vehicles or hard surface, but you do military stuff, because that can easily fit into gaming stuff as well. And that's another thing that I didn't mention, because I know you're doing some really complex things. I didn't see any wireframes, so I'm not sure if they're optimized for games or they're for more for cinematics. If they're not for games, you might want to look into learning that pipeline as well, because that will open more positions or more opportunities for you. Let's go with Oleg. Says, hi, I'm beginner 3D artist in the field for 3D for a year. Okay, so Oleg, I'm gonna be very, very blunt and very direct with you. You already have the basic, like, sculpting skills, like, pretty much nailed down. I can see a couple of sculpts right here. We need to move to the next part of the production pipeline. So you need to do retopo and you need to do textures. And we have, of course, information there on the site for both of those options. Like, you can start with something like this girl right here. Just take it through the retopology process, take it through the substance process. Or if you don't want to do that and you just want to focus on sculpting, then what you need to start learning about is how to pose your characters and prepare them for 3D print, for instance. So to do collectibles and things like that. So that would be my advice for you, because right now I can see that you know how to use ZBrush. We need to learn how to use other softwares as well. Let's go with the next one. Lewis Stockley says, would love your feedback on my latest project. I started making 3D characters since early 2020 in COVID lockdown for fun. I'm now in my last year of uni for game design, but I'm more into 3D side of things. After I graduate, I'm hoping to get a job in the industry. Let's see. Oh, this looks really nice, man. Yeah, this looks really, really nice. Top-notch stuff. Nice. ZBrush, Blender, Substance, Marbles, Photoshop, Photoshop, Unreal. Damn, dude, you've been learning quite a bit of softwares. It's amazing. Yeah, this is very, very clean. Nice. The only thing you're missing on this one, my friend, is some breakdowns. Just some breakdowns on wireframes and UDIMs and things like that. Because I'm sure you're using UDIMs, right? This is not just like a 2K texture. There's some multiple things going on here. But yeah, another thing that might be important to just like mention. I'm gonna go. I've seen your stuff before, haven't I? Yeah, you've submitted before. I remember this, Darth Mal. Yeah, dude. Yeah, like if you're studying right now, I'm sure you're gonna have an easy time finding a position. Again, character positions are tricky. Just show more wireframes, man, because I do remember your stuff. I think you submitted back when I was next to this wall, and you have a really good understanding of the pipeline, but we need to see how optimized these things are. Okay. So show me some wireframes, because I don't see any wireframes on any of them. And keep going, man. Like this is top-notch stuff. Congratulations. Let's go now with Claudio Lopez from Portugal. Says, I've been doing 3D for about a year now, and I mostly do surface because I like robots and props too. I'm gonna niche. My goal is to do some freelancing with some indie studios, or maybe if the opportunity rises with AAA studios while I keep my day job, if that's realistic. Yeah, it's totally realistic. And actually, that's one of the things that I advise anyone. Like, if you already have a safe job, you can keep learning about 3D, and you can keep learning about these things while keeping your day-to-day job. So, I see some stuff that's good here, Claudio, that I like, and some that I feel like doesn't really need to be here. For instance, this guy right here. Very simple, right? Very probably like a fast exercise. There's some anatomy things that we're missing there, and we definitely need to clean up a little bit of that. Can you do a retopology stream? I've done it before, but yes, we're gonna do one with the dwarf character that we've been working probably next week, okay? So Claudio, my best advice for you, especially if you wanna like keep improving, is maybe take the ZBrush stylized course, the one with the Oni, because I can see that you already know most of the tools, or you've been playing with the tools, but we need to improve on the forms, right? Like the foundational stuff that makes up our sculptures. We need to improve a little bit more on that so that the stuff and the elements are a lot cleaner. You're on a good path, but we need to polish those fundamentals. Yeah, thank you, Kosa. You are welcome. I'm always trying to be nice. It's easy to be like a cynic or be negative in this world. It's not as easy to be nice and try to care for others. So I try to do that. Tenshi! Let's go with Tenshi Hayasaki from Philippines. Hello, my name is Tenshi from the Philippines. I'm a graduating college art student looking to work as a 3D artist in the industry. I like creating environments and character models. My goal is to improve the overall quality of works. Okay, let's take a look. Hey, not bad. So I'm gonna be, again, brutally honest here. I see way more potential in you right now as a environment artist than as a character artist, because some of the characters that I see right here are a little bit on the uncanny valley side of things, and characters do take a long time to improve. And I'm gonna be completely honest, like I'm not sure if our good friend Lewis here is available on the chat, but if we ask him how long he has been doing characters, I can assure you that he's gonna say like at least 3 or 4 years, if not more. Like in the message he mentioned 2020. So it takes time to get to this level of character art, okay guys? And you are getting there, like you are improving. I can see like this is a nice character, but I can see that your environment is way better. Like this one right here, I really like what you did here with the concrete wall, some of the props and some of the assets. It's looking a little bit better. We can definitely improve more Tenshi here on the texturing side of things. And again, as I frequently mention, I want to see more complex stuff like this. This is a little bit better. The only thing, it's very boxy, right? There's not a lot of like complex shapes going on. And when we don't see complex shapes, well, it just becomes a little bit easier to find someone else who can do the exact same thing. So try going for a concept. Try picking a concept that's a little bit more interesting or a little bit more challenging, so that you can really flex your muscles and show how good of a 3D artist you are. Give me just 1 second. Checking to see if there's any emergency here, because my phone has been ringing non-stop. One of the disadvantages. There we go. Okay, so yeah, we're missing a lot of stuff here from the concept, man. A lot of stuff. And texturing, again, can definitely be improved. Look at the thickness of the lines that you have right here compared to the thickness of the lines that you have right here. That's not what we want, okay? We definitely need to improve a little bit on that, like precision on the elements. Oh, awesome. Yeah. Flip kicks. If you are doing Nomad, that's great. Again, the same principles apply. But I strongly recommend checking the Oni course, because that one's gonna teach you the basics of ZBrush, and it's gonna help you out. Or you might wait a couple of weeks for a little surprise that I'm cooking about ZBrush. Let's see. Love your nice flex. Yeah, there we go. Let's go to the next one. This one is Artem. My name is Artem, and I'm a 3D character artist specializing in games. Now, my main goal is to be in the band in the studio. At the moment, I work in the studio, but I really want to move to a studio for more and more stable. What can you say about my portfolio? Well, the first thing that I can say, Artem, is that we're definitely missing more pieces. We only have 2 right now. This one, I don't particularly like how you handle some of the elements. For instance, this strap right here in the chest, but we can definitely polish it a little bit more. Polygon wise is fine, a little bit. It just looks like very chunky clay, right? Like this is one of the things that I mentioned or tell you guys, when you're doing this sort of like hard surface things like this, helmets and weapons and things like that, you don't want to do everything in ZBrush. It's gonna look very what's the word, again, very chunky, like plastiline, and you don't want that. You want to have like sharp, like hard surface models. And if you need to go to Maya or Blender to do retopo and really clean those edges, do it. Otherwise, you're gonna be left with things that don't look as nice. This one right here, same thing. Like, look at the cloth, very chunky, right? Like, it looks like you're doing everything inside of ZBrush, and you say right here that you do know how to use Blender. So my advice, really clean up these things, man. Like all of these hairs and all of these elements, go for really clay, like clean, polished elements. Especially in your retopology and your bakes. Like this thing right here, just going through the like leather strap right there. I don't know, it just looks weird. And we're definitely gonna, I'm gonna do, David, can you please write this down, because this is another short that we need to talk about. Cloth has anatomy. the cloth that every character has specific properties, and it's not just like folds for the sake of having folds. Cloth moves in a specific direction, and if you don't capture that movement, it's going to be very difficult to get something that looks realistic. Okay, so I mean, I would change a couple of things, Sir Colonel. Like, it's not bad, like the pants are not bad, but there are a couple of things that I would change to make them look a little bit better, because it's definitely a weird thing in a couple of areas. There you go. Yeah, that's it. Thank you, Flip. Thank you for being here. See you on the next one. Let's go to the next one. Kevin says, hi, Eve. I've worked again on what you told me during the last portfolio review, and I could only make 2 more characters after Thanos. Thanos. Where's Thanos? I'm trying to remember this portfolio. Yeah. I'm gonna give you one more advice here. I'm not sure if I mentioned this last time. I do think that the letters here that you're adding are a little bit too overwhelming on the character. Now I remember. Yeah, I remember this Iron Maiden here. Okay, so let's take a look at the characters. Dragon Knight. Yeah, this is fun. Nice. Careful with this stretching right here. We can optimize the shoulders a little bit more, or the elbows, sorry. Textures are not bad. They feel a little bit bumpy. Is there a concept? I love the horse. That's a very funny horse. Yeah, this is Kevin Adams. Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's not my favorite from yours, if I'm being honest. This one looks a little bit more interesting. I've seen this concept before. That's the problem. That's the problem, man. I've seen this concept before, and I feel like the execution is missing a little bit, man. Be very careful again with the density on your topology. For instance, it doesn't make sense that the legs have less topology than the pants, because the legs are more important, right? Like the muscles of the legs should be more important, and it's definitely on the dense side of things. I can see that we have 90,000. Seems like more though. Now, I'm gonna give you one very good advice that was given to me when I first started, and it's, if you don't know how to pose, or if you're having issues posing characters, don't pose them. just clean render, clean proportions. A rigger and an animator will be doing the posing, so don't try to do something that's just not working, because it feels very unnatural in this case. Like the chain and the little buffalo here is very like still. He's not doing anything. So just show me the character. There's no need to overdo it. It's a good execution. Again, I know that you know the process. He looks a little bit off proportion, and I've seen this concept before. Let me see if you have it here. Let's see if we... No, we don't have the render. But this, I've seen this concept before. I'm not sure if this is from a tutorial that I've seen before or something, but I remember this pose very clearly. So there are things, there are proportion things and elements that are just not working. We gotta be very careful, Kevin, with the proportions of the characters. Right now, this character looks very short. Like if we measure the... what's the word? If we measure the head, we're gonna see that it's a relatively like big head compared to the rest of the body, and he looks like a little kid. That's the thing. He looks like a young orc instead of like the super heroic orc that we're going for. So it's very, very important that yeah, there we go. So we be very careful about that. Let's see, speed care, orc rider. I'm not sure if I can find it, but even if it's like, see how they exaggerated? There we go. It's this one, right? Pretty sure it's this one. And you can see that the proportions are like way different, right? And people will know, even if you do, like, you guys know my opinion about using a tutorial on your portfolio. That's not always the best idea. But if you do it from a tutorial and then you don't nail the tutorial, it's gonna be complicated, right? So keep it up, man. My advice, like if I can offer you another one of the courses that I do, try doing the Duncan course, the anatomy for 3D artists, because that one really teaches proportion as well, and you're gonna have a character that's looks a lot stronger. Then you can jump into substance, because again, I feel like some of your textures are still looking a little bit too plasticky, and that has to do with the texturings mostly. But it's the sculpture. It's like the forms are the sculpture. Like again, like taking a look at this buffalo, like look at the horns. Like I can see that you didn't spend as much time of this horns as some of the other elements. The cool thing, and this is the big advantage that you have, Kevin, is that you already know the tools. You already know the software. So you're not fighting against the softwares. Now the fight is against the polish of the elements. Like spending enough time to make sure that every single piece is as polished as possible. Yes, Maggot, we will be opening a new portfolio channel on October. We're going to wait until October. So on the first week of October, probably, we're going to be opening that stuff. Yeah. A A-pose character is good. Like, it's not as eye-catching, but it's good. Now, what I recommend, and this one I took from Alessandro Baldessaroni. So, Alessandro Baldessaroni, another amazing character artist. What he used to do back in the day is he would do, like, very basic poses. Like this one. One of my favorite freaking, like, characters. Udyr from League of Legends. Look at that. Super simple pose. So from an A pose is a very simple. You can even do transpose master and things like that, or just a very simple rig. And this one right here, it's just so simple. Just a relaxed pose. The character's just standing there. No need to go like super intense on the pose. Just simple, clean pose, and it shows all you need to know about the character, right? And then about you as an artist. So yeah, no need to go all of this super intense poses right here. You can keep it really, really simple. And that's what I did on the Oni, actually. Right? That's what we teach on the Oni. Just a simple pose. It's a little bit more gesture here and there, just a little bit more movement here and there, and that's all you need. That's all you need for your presentation. No need to go super intense. Okay, let's go GMB, Jose Martin Lorente Bernal. Says, hi, my name is Jose. I'm from Spain. I've been modeling about 6 years. Nice. Oh, nice. I'm already seeing some cool stuff here. I couldn't spend that much time with it, but I wanted to make it. I would like to know, what do you think about my portfolio? I feel like my flaws are taking camera shots and rendering. No, rendering is actually not that bad, man. Like, I feel like you got some cool stuff. You're definitely in the stylized realm, right? Like this wow giraffe. It's amazing. Really, really good, man. I feel like, again, similar to what I showed some of the other guys, we can increase the contrast on the colors a little bit more, especially if you're doing this sort of like hand painted stuff. That's definitely important. Showing more retopology, right? Yeah, it's mainly a texturing thing, I would say, for you, my friend. Because it kind of looks like you're just doing poly paint. I'm not sure if you're doing UVs and all of the other elements. This looks a little bit more like just poly paint stuff. I wonder if you're using like substance. Yeah, the axolotl is quite cool. But this is just poly paint, right? So if you want to do stylized stuff, learn the hand painted thing, like the hand painted process. And it can be like a fake hand painted. I have a video on the what's the word, on the YouTube channel as well, because you are doing like a really cool, like the sculpts right here. This is really nice sculpting. It reminds me a lot of like Darksiders. This is really nice. But I feel like we're missing a little bit from having more get more variation on the colors, right? So if we have a couple more highlights, a couple more shadows, this one's probably the best one from a texturing perspective. But yeah, this is cool, man. It's just I would just need to, or I would like to see if you can like optimize this for games a little bit more and show the hand painted approach. This is very nice. Yeah, I've never seen a wart giraffe either, but this one's really nice. I love this one. And it's funny because you do have the like you did have the proper retopology and everything. This one just needs a little bit more texture, like just a little bit more texture. It's a great concept. Thomas Carlson. Nice. Yeah. Let's see. Joywin says, I'm Joywin from India. I'm currently pursuing my degree on game art. Also working as a freelance character. Okay, let's take a look at the characters. So, first advice, again, take out anything. Oh, I've seen yours before, man. Yeah, you're going for this, like, cel-shaded style. I'm not a cel-shaded guy. Like, I don't do cel-shaded stuff. So, you might want to check some of the tutorials that people are doing for, like, the Genshin Impact, like, process that they do in Blender to get, like, a nicer cel-shaded style. But this one's nice. Yeah, this one's quite clean. I could definitely see this in, like a kid's game. Or some more stylized games. Yeah, this is very nice, actually. Yeah, good stuff, man. I've seen yours before. Definitely optimize this a little bit more. 72,000 triangles is way too much. Way too much. You don't need all of these triangles. I know you're using them for all of the hair. You can simplify it way more. Okay? Way more. This character should be about 30k triangles. So half what you have right now. But yeah, I really like it, man. This one's a very fun one. Will the Environment Art Course be releasing in September, October? I hope so, man. I hope so. I'll talk about that next week, okay? I promise. Devin. Let's go with Devin. Oh, nice. I'm Devin from Turkey. I'm a self-taught 3D artist who specializes in character... into gaming industry. Characters with 3D... Okay, let's take a look. So, this is a good option. Which I've said before, it's like, hey, if you want to do something that's like a fan art, try to imagine it in a different way. I'm not a huge fan. Oh no, this is problematic, man. Oops. And sorry, I'm gonna be blunt and I'm gonna be direct on why this is not working. The density, man. This is way too dense. Like way too dense. Look at the shoulder pads right there. Like the amount of geometry that you're using for that is way too much. And I'm not sure. I'm guessing this is just C-remesher, which is not gonna get you very far because it's just way too dense. Same for the sharpness of the elements. Like they look a little bit like again blocky, like not as nice or as sharp as what a traditionally poly model armor might look like. So I would work a little bit more on that. Same for the materials, like the gold that you're using, way too saturated. It looks very fakeish. It's not a bad character. It's a good execution. And again, I like the idea that you already know the steps, but we need to work on the polish of things, okay? On the polish. This one's a little bit better. I like the shots. I like the pose. There's all the maps. Yeah, this one's a little bit more successful. I don't love the hat, to be honest. I would do it a little bit differently, but it's not a bad one. Same process here with Leatherman. Go and watch the Plague Doctor's Masks video that I have live stream, because you need to split it into different parts. Otherwise, it looks very weird. Yeah, same for the shoulder pads. Same for like the bra armor right there. It even seems like it's splitting on some areas. I'm not sure if that's stitching. It's detail, man. We need to be more mindful of the details. We need to be more careful about how we set up all of those details. Because otherwise, when they deform, they're not going to deform as nicely, okay? It's not a bad execution. Again, you already know the steps. You already know the process on how to get from point A to point B. But we need to be more careful about each asset that we do. More attention to detail. That'll be my advice for you, Devin. And finally, we did it. We got to the final part. We got to Samander. Yeah, no, and Mago, that is the reason why we do portfolio reviews. Let me go full screen. The way or the reason why we do portfolio reviews is not only so that we can see all of the amazing art that people are doing, but because we learn from that. Like, we see what things are working and we see what things are not working. And if we see both of those things, even though we didn't do that particular piece of a portfolio, we learn. And either consciously or subconsciously, we will apply some of those things later. We will remember, oh, people really like this thing on those portfolios and people really didn't like these other things. That's how we learn. And that's why we as humans are so powerful as a species, right? Because we don't have to go through the same process of relearning something. We can learn from someone else. I was reading this. This is a like an actual scientific data that says, for instance, a chimp, right, or a gorilla, since they don't have a way to record things like in written language or videos or whatever, every time a new generation of gorillas or monkeys or whatever are born, they need to teach the younger ones all of the things from scratch. And they need to learn that from scratch. And that's why like the advancement doesn't happen as fast. For us, we don't have to do that. In our case, we have thousands of years of art evolution, right? Of art history and art color theory, proportions, and all of those things. And we can save ourselves a lot of time and just learn the new things that way, right? So that's why this kind of like that's why this is another sort of like question that I get asked about, like, should I go to school, should I not go to school? That's one of the advantages of going to school, that you're not only going to learn what you learned, you're going to learn what all of your other peers are learning, and that also will make your whole like learning process better. So I feel very passionate and very happy about all of the things that I do here for the channel and for the project, right? But one of the things that I like the most is this portfolio review, because this is where we really sort of like get together and we all learn. Like, you guys have no idea how much I learned from all of these portfolios, because every now and then we're gonna find like really kick-ass portfolios like this one right here, right, from our good friend Lewis. And even I, who have been working on this industry for a long time, I will see things and I'm like, damn, I love how he handled, I don't know, like the wrinkles in here. Or I'll look at the pinhead right here and it's like, oh, those scars on the head are amazing. And I will learn things. So even though I didn't do these pieces right here, the next time I do a character and I'm doing this specific type of character, I will have information that I'm gonna be able to learn from, okay? Yeah, Kevin, that's a great question. So let's go, because we still have a little bit of time. So where are you? Yeah, I know you were following a tutorial, and that's what people were like mentioning about. And yes, it's not a bad idea that you try to modify it a little bit, but we always need to be very mindful of how we modify things. So my main point with this one is that I feel like certain areas received a lot of attention from you. And you did a really good job. For instance, like this horn right here looks very nice. What else? Like some of the straps and this metal armor looks very nice. But then we have other things that didn't receive as much attention as they should have. And that's the thing that you need to do. Panjam, did I miss your portfolio? No, I did not. Skip it. I'll go back and check if I skipped it in just a second. But yeah, that's my main point, Kevin. Like, make sure that when you're doing a character, especially something as ambitious as this character that has so many pieces, every single piece has to receive the same amount of attention. That's the main sort of like takeaway that I want you to get from this one. Oh my god. I'm getting my freaking allergies again. Okay. So last but not least, unless I actually miss Prakash here, and we'll go back, but at least on the list that I have right now, we got Samander from Uzbekistan. And Samander here has a bunch of different pieces, and they're very good. This is the Oni from our Oni course, from a Super Stylized course. That's very nice. I don't know if this is from a tutorial or not. I feel like I've seen it before. This one I've definitely seen it before. And this one is, of course, the commander, Duncan. So I feel like you're definitely getting the information, my friend Samander. Now, one of the things that I would recommend you to do is go and pick something on your own, okay? Because I think all 4 of these are from tutorials. You now have the tools. You now have the information and the knowledge. It's time that you go and grab something and challenge yourself to try and come up with the result from that without having someone holding your hand, okay? It's very, very important. Oh, Prakash, yeah, you probably missed your portfolio because I don't think I missed any of the portfolios. We went through pretty much all of them, but don't worry, it's gonna be back up on Monday. We're gonna be re-uploading it. I need to download, do a couple of edits, and then like get it back up. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Do we have any more questions before we finish today's portfolio? Portfolio review. We went through a lot of really cool stuff. A lot of stuff. Characters, props. There were not too many environments today. We had a lot of characters and props. When to use UDIMs? You should use UDIMs when the project allows for it. That's pretty much it, that one artist. So UDIMs are a great resource. But again, it's the same thing. Like if I make a character, right? Let me see. Let me show you here. Here. So this is Thyros, right? What do I think about the USD workflow? It's a really good workflow with big studios or big projects. If you're in a small studio, it can help. It requires a little bit of setup, so that's why I don't particularly use it. The stuff that we do is relatively small in scope. Okay, there we go. So this is Thyros, right? This was from our old tutorial. Very proud of this one, to be honest. It's one of my favorite characters. And Thyros here has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 materials. Each material is a 4K map material. For this tutorial, I didn't use UDIMs, but I could have used UDIMs. And he requires 6 materials because he has a lot of surface area, right? The bandages, the leather, the skin, the props, like all of these things right here. So if the character has a lot of maps and you're gonna have them all together at the same time, UDIMs can save you time in the setup process. But it's the same thing to have one material with 6 UDIM tiles than to have 6 different materials. Well, it's not the exact same thing, right? But it's very comparable performance-wise because you're still gonna have to be loading all of those materials and things like that. When building your portfolio, should you start with a small project that you can complete in a short amount of time, or should you choose a complex concept that has more detail, will take much longer? So that's a great question. When I was at school, when I was graduating, what we had was 2 terms where we had portfolio terms, and we would do 3 projects per term, so 6 projects total to have 6 pieces for a portfolio, and each project was supposed to take us about 3 weeks. That's how we did it, because that's usually what you get in production for things like this. So for instance, this character, it would probably be like a 1-month character if you're in production in a studio. So it's like, but you would need to spend 40 hours each week. So in total, it's 120 hours. So it really depends on how much time you have. But for portfolio, I always recommend spending more time. So I prefer to have 3, 4, 5 pieces that are really, really good, even if they take a long time to do, than to have 20 pieces that each took like 2 hours to do. It speaks better of you as an artist if you have really complex pieces. In terms of a game engine, it depends, Maggot. It really depends. It's all it has to do with how many textures you're using, pretty much. Yeah, exactly, Otaku. Like, that's the difficult part. Like, when you're watching a video or a tutorial, it's easy to just follow the steps and get to the final result. But the real challenge is, hey, how are you gonna do it on your own? Now, I'm gonna throw you the next one. You know what's even more challenging than grabbing a concept and then doing it on your own? Grabbing a concept or creating your concept, doing it on your own, and then having to teach it to you guys, which is what I do with these characters right here. So for instance, Thyros, I was given the concept by my good friend Fox, and then I had to sort of like on the go while I'm explaining, understand how I'm going to be sort of like doing it. Not a lot of tutorial texturing in Marmoset. Yeah, we'll probably do a Marmoset tutorial. I really want to do a Marmoset 5 tutorial with all of the tools that it has, but I want to wait until it releases as a full release, not just in beta, because things might change. Okay, so we're gonna finish now, guys. I know there's a bunch of more questions, but I'm about to run out of time because I need to go pick my little girl from her kindergarten. So I'm gonna stop it right here. I'm just gonna answer 2 more questions. The first one is about portfolio reviews. So the next portfolio review will open during October. If you wanna get the heads up, you need to join the Discord. So make sure to join the Discord because that's where we are announcing, hey, portfolio review is now open. We're gonna have a couple of more rules for the next couple of portfolio reviews so that we can have enough time for everyone to be a part of it in a nice way. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So what is the software? This software right here is Marmoset 5, my friend. It's a real-time rendering software, and this right here is Thyros. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming. This was this is always one of my favorite series to record every month, which is of course our portfolio review. So thank you from the bottom of my heart to everyone for being here, for commenting and just like adding to the conversation. We're gonna have more stuff coming in the next couple of days. There's a couple of surprises and things like that. So yeah, make sure to stay tuned. If you're in YouTube, make sure to subscribe. If you're in Twitch, make sure to follow. And if you want to support this project and this channel, the best way to do it is of course by checking our premium courses on our website, where you can of course not only learn more about the 3D world, but also get better, improve, be a better artist at the end of the day. So that's it, my friends. Thank you very much. Casey, I'll answer that question very, very soon. Is there a good tutorial? Yeah, I have a tutorial. Just look it up on the YouTube channel, Udem's workflow. There's one right there that I recorded last year. So make sure to check that one out. And that's it, guys. Have a great weekend. And don't forget, always learning, always improving. I'll see you back on the next one. Bye-bye.